Music is a huge part of our society. It brings people together, lets you express yourself in new and creative ways, can even help you get through tough times. Personally, for me, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I've honestly never been a big music person. I know, throw me into a volcano. I would just rather watch YouTube videos. I don't know. I like the constant flashing colors and pictures, I think. Like, I don't hate music. For the most part, I could honestly listen to anything, but that's kinda it, you know? Nothing stands out to me and I don't go out of my way to listen to it. If anyone out there is like me, you understand the pain of when a conversation starts turning towards the topic of music. You know exactly what's coming, and you're helpless to stop it. There's nothing you can do. It's already in motion. The person you're talking to opens their mouth and you wince as they say it. So what kind of music do you listen to? Oh, I don't really listen to music. Like, not at all. Nah, maybe like some video game music every once in a while, but that's kind of it. Damn. That's crazy. Yeah. And after that conversational stumbling, the person starts talking about the music they like, and you have to stand there and take it. Oh, that sounds cool. I should give it a listen. You're just lying through your teeth, not being convinced in the slightest, and will immediately forget every piece of information they tried to feed you. Even if I wanted to look it up later, my brain goes, get this out of here immediately. We've got to make room for the 4-hour-long video essay about Freddy Fazbear. Basically, I don't connect to music the way the majority of people do, and no one, including me, is happy about it. Look, I've tried to contribute in my own way, but no one else listens to the Mario Kart Cheeseland theme in their free time. It's good. No one believes me. Now, on a completely unrelated note, a while ago I wanted to get into a hobby that was fun and active at the same time because I do not move if not incentivized to. And that's not good. I'd like to still be fully functional at the age of 30. So after a bit of soul searching and digging around in the old ideas jar, I decided to try out DDR. I got a dance pad, downloaded some fun video game songs and anime intros to Dance Dance Revolution 2, and I got really into it. It was the most active I've been since high school. I was doing cardio for hours on end. Who am I? After playing my batch of custom songs for a few months, I decided to download some more stuff. And that's when I casually thought to myself, I wonder if there's any good Vocaloid charts. Now, to start a completely new tangent again, Vocaloid is a voice synthesizer program, yada yada yada. Basically, it's robot voices you can control to write songs, and there's different characters based on what voice you use. The most common example, you know her, you love her, is Hatsune Miku. Yep, strap in folks, we're finally talking about Hatsune Miku, my beloved. My history with Hatsune Miku is a bit all over the place. I first got really into her in high school. I don't remember exactly how, but I probably just stumbled onto some of her popular songs while browsing YouTube one day. Either way, I was obsessed, and that was the first instance of me actually listening to music, which, as you know, was groundbreaking. I loved Hatsune Miku so much that in my senior year of English class, the teacher told us to write a PowerPoint presentation about anything we wanted. Most kids talked about, like, ending racism or recycling or something like that, but I decided my presentation was gonna be about our girl, Hatsune Miku. You know, just as morally important as ending racism and preventing global warming. Of course, I disguised it as a presentation about our hologram concert's gonna be the future of live music, but it was really just an excuse to gush about Miku because I desperately needed that outlet. I was a lonely child. Honestly, I'm not even sure how I mustered up the courage to do that presentation in the first place, because as the shy art girl who never talked to or hung out with anyone, it was a bold choice for me to talk about something considered so strange and nerdy at the time. I started my presentation and immediately was like, oh my god, what the hell am I doing talking about a holographic Japanese pop icon in front of my normie-ass classmates? I regret every moment I didn't stop myself from getting right here. After playing Miku's viral World Is Mine performance for the class, one of the, like, popular girls was like, that was cool, can we watch another? And I thought she was making fun of me, so I just sat back down. As much as I loved Miku back then, my anxiety got the better of me, and I slowly drifted away from her because I didn't want to feel like a social outcast. It's a dog-eat-dog world when you're a teenager, and you know it. We were all just trying to survive out there. I'm sorry, Miku. I was weak. Fast forward to current Jaiden. I've grown up a bit, and more sure of myself, learned some life lessons. Am not surrounded by self-conscious teenagers 24/7. I'm now sitting here in front of my computer screen with a choice. Should I choose to yet again repress myself from pursuing a niche and uncommon interest because of self-conscious fears? Or am I gonna choose self-healing and growth and allow myself to fully re-explore the world of a Japanese virtual pop star to play DDR2? Crank up that Miku. I started downloading songs I listened to years ago, found some new ones. I was exploring and already getting more and more into the music I chose to leave behind out of fear years ago. I was flourishing. And that's how it began. I didn't know it back then, but this was the first step of a hyperfixation like no other I've experienced. Hatsune Miku was showing me the ways of truly enjoying music. I was playing her whenever I was in the car, consistently looking up new songs and artists to add to my playlist, even listening to her while I work or play video games, which I pretty much never did. My world was changing. And it was all hers. This wasn't just the music either, it was straight up about Hatsune Miku. I've never been a figure collector, but I started buying so many Miku figures I had to get a custom shelf in my office just to display them all. Dude, it's such a double-edged sword to be into Miku, because the fan base is constantly being fed. New Miku this, new Miku that. Gorgeous figures are coming out like every month. What am I supposed to do? Not buy them? Every house needs to have at least one Miku. That's a feng shui rule. Also, a huge oversight on my part. When I got my Miku shelf installed, I wanted it above my computer. It turned out great and displays them really well, but when I'm actually sitting at my desk and want to look up and admire my figures, all I see is accidental upskirt shots and I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Miku, I'm not trying to disrespect you, I promise. It was a miscalculation on my part. So whenever I'm at my desk, I just don't look up. As most of you probably know, Pokemon invited Jacob and me to Japan to attend the Pokemon World Championships back in August. That was super fun, and the video of that trip should be up by now if I'd planned things correctly. If not, then oops. But Worlds also just so happened to overlap with Magical Mirai, also known as one of the biggest Hatsune Miku expos and concerts ever. We had to go. Since getting super into Miku, it became one of my biggest dreams to see her live in concert. Who knows if we'd ever get this perfect of an opportunity again? What if she invites me backstage and we became friends? I immediately tried to get tickets, but couldn't figure out how the Japanese ticket system worked, so Emily ended up having to help me out. She was also the one who told me about the concert in the first place, so thank you, Emily, my hero, my savior. We got tickets, but not actually, because if you don't know, the way Japan does most of their online ticket systems is through a gacha. Yeah, random lottery. No matter how much money I was willing to hypothetically spend to get these tickets, at the end of the day, we were all just like those little numbered balls in that bingo spinner thing. Months pass as I eagerly await our fate. Then the email pops up in my inbox. I click it, scanning it way too quickly to understand any of the contents until my eyes catch it. Successfully obtained tickets. We're gonna see Miku! Suddenly life had color again. This is what living feels like. Air tasted more pure. The sun was smiling, beaming even. I smiled back for the first time. Something smelled like toast. You have no idea how excited I was. I don't even understand why I love Hatsune Miku as much as I do, but she has become one of the pillars of my being. Let's jump to the day of the concert. Jacob and I are in Japan and are just about to arrive at the convention center. I remember looking out the window of the taxi, getting so excited to see people wearing their Miku shirts and kimonos, and they had Miku bags. I felt like I was finally around my people. We get there, walk into the convention center, and a blast of Hatsune Miku hits us. Giant Miku statues and posters, booths stocked with Miku merchandise, almost everyone dressed head to toe in Miku clothes. I saw people with Hatsune Miku suitcases to hold all the Miku things they were buying. I immediately wanted to run around and look at everything all at once. There were multiple times where Jacob lost me because I just started walking off in different directions like a Miku moth. We spent a few hours looking around and buying things. We spent a lot of money, but eventually we started getting ready for the live concert. I was giddy with excitement at this point. She was gonna be right in front of me. We found our seats and dude, we were pretty damn close to the stage, especially for randomly selected seats. I couldn't believe how close we were gonna be to Hatsune Miku. I already knew going into it I was gonna cry frame one. If you didn't know, it's pretty standard to to have special Miku glow sticks you can shake to the beat of whichever song is playing. You can even switch them to the coordinated color of whichever Vocaloid was on stage at the time. I've only learned about it from watching videos of concerts on YouTube thus far, and I gotta say, it was so fun to see people before the show warming up their arms and practicing their glow stick moves. They really take Hatsune Miku seriously, and I respect it so much. Some people were even quadruple wielding glow sticks. The record I personally saw was 6, like some sort of Miku Wolverine. It was a huge bummer though, because Jacob and I tried to buy some sticks of our own at the expo hall, but they were already sold out, so we didn't have any. And it was kind of embarrassing. Soon enough, the Miku songs the venue was playing started getting louder, and the house lights dimmed. And man, seeing the lights turn down and the teal glow of all the sticks emanating together to light up the room, honestly, it made me tear up. I don't even think I realized how much I loved Hatsune Miku until that moment, being completely surrounded by people who love her just as much and more than I do. This is what it's like to be into music, isn't it? To experience these moments being completely engulfed in a community, all connected by a single art. I get it now. It's beautiful. The room glowed Miku blue, and everyone was cheering and shaking their glow sticks, anticipating her appearance. All the Vocaloids were introduced one by one with text on the hologram screen. Meiko, Luca, Kaito, Kagamine, Rin, and Len. And then Hatsune Miku. The crowd went ballistic. I could already feel myself holding back tears. A little digital poof explosion goes off, and there she was, right in front of us. She started singing, and Jacob and I were cheering and bouncing with the rest of the crowd. By the time she got a couple songs in, Jacob and I were definitely feeling left out for not having the glow sticks to shake, so we pulled out our Miku plushes to use in place of them, and that felt much better. By the end of the concert, Jacob was even dual-wielding Mikus. After a few songs, Miku disappeared, and the other Vocaloids played some of their songs. I honestly don't know them as well, so I wasn't too familiar with most of the songs they all played, but I was having a great time nonetheless. It was nice to not be fighting tears the whole time anymore as well. Then Miku came back, and the concert continued on, and we learned some real nice glow stick moves, replaced with our Miku plushes, of course. There's the classic arm cheer on beat, the on beat off beat, the building cheer on to beat, even throw in the advanced building cheer on to double beat with a height. I'll say it, doing all those glow stick movements was honestly a really crazy arm workout. Like, we were working biceps and shoulders for 2 hours straight. Imagine Beat Saber, but higher up in the posture with almost no breaks. And if you don't commit, then Hatsune Miku thinks you hate her. I wanted to mention that in Vocaloid concerts, obviously they have a recording of the vocals because, you know, but all the other instruments were absolutely real. There was a live band playing all the songs for the entire set. In the middle of the concert, there was even a nice little appreciation moment showcasing all the band members by name, accompanied by a little solo they got to play. I'm a big bass fan and would love to learn how to play it one day. And I know bass players get super neglected because everyone wants to watch the cool guitar players, so I gave extra attention to the Miku bass player. They definitely noticed me cheering for them, probably because I could tell everyone was watching the guitar players and I was the only one actually looking at them. And the bass player smiled super wide and raised his bass to me, and I just thought that was a nice moment. Appreciate your bass players, guys. They need it. Anyway, the concert went on. There were awesome lasers and sparklers, fun costume changes from all the Vocaloids, great set list. Shout out to the guy in front of us that was there with his girlfriend and definitely more excited to be there than she was. Finally, it came to the encore. We had to convince Miku to play one more song. You know how, at least in America, people are cheering and screaming for an encore? Well, Japan is like so quiet and polite. They were saying it like a suggestion. It was so quiet. Kind of just a long session of applause with a whisper of Miku. Miku. Like, if I were Hatsune Miku, I would have questioned if they even wanted the encore in the first place. Also, we were asking for the encore for like 5 minutes straight. I was fully convinced she had left the building. But she came out for her last song. It was a blast. She was in her magical Mirai outfit for the year. And it was over. I've only gone to one other concert in my entire life, and it was because a friend in college had an extra ticket and invited me along. I didn't even know the band at the time. It was some random group called Fall Out Boy or something. But I could have been to 1,000 concerts and still say this was the best one I've ever been to. I loved the energy, I loved how passionate and excited everyone was to be there, and I loved Hatsune Miku, and still do. I want to go to so many more of her concerts. It was a great event for me, and I want to relive it again and again. You might think it's weird, or you don't get it. It's just a hologram robot girl, right? That's totally fine. If you can't find it in Vocaloid, I hope everyone has the opportunity to connect with or find a community to enjoy like I have with Hatsune Miku, because moments like that concert are so incredible and I feel so lucky to have been there. I just want everyone to experience something like that in their lifetime. Getting into Vocaloid can be a bit intimidating, so for anyone that wants to give Miku a try or is just looking for a playlist of some of my favorite Vocaloid songs, I'm putting a link to a Miku playlist I've made and actively listened to in the description and probably the comments too. If I can convert at least a few people into Miku fans, that's a win in my book. I hope you enjoy. I am off to apply for more tickets to another Miku concert. Bye-bye. When Carl Jacobs popped up in my DMs asking if I wanted to be in Mr. Beast's upcoming video, I'll be honest, my gut reaction was fear. Mr. Beast has basically become YouTube's own mad scientist. He can snap his fingers and shape reality at this point. Despite part of me thinking I should just stay in the comfort of my own home, I felt really honored to be invited and kinda just wanted to show up, say hi, and then realistically go home within the first round of eliminations. I accepted the ominous invitation, and before I knew it, was flying to North Carolina being handed a custom uniform, all before even knowing what I actually just signed up for. I didn't even know if there was a prize for the winner at this point. Walking into the green room, I was expecting to not know anyone, but to my relief, I saw a lot of familiar faces. I even used this time to ask MatPat what it was like to meet Scott Cawthorn, and he told me FNAF secrets. So already this trip was more than worth it. Eventually, we were herded down a long, mysterious hallway until we saw it. The Mr. Beast cube. After everyone was filed inside, we were told the last person to leave the cube would be deemed the winner. And also win $1 million for their subscribers. This is for $1 million? The challenge began. Immediately, people started jumping in the giant pile of real money that was inside, throwing handfuls of bills in the air, laughing, mingling. To pass the time, James and I drew our cartoon characters out of dollar bills on the floor. The staff came in and ended up giving everyone their own personal vlog camera to document their POV of the challenge. And I think I genuinely was the only person who didn't record a single second of footage on that thing. I just thought, I'm not gonna use this footage because I'm not gonna make a video out of it, and they're gonna have plenty of other people's footage to use. In hindsight, maybe it would have been a good idea to record something, just in case. I don't know, maybe the Mr. Beast team would end up actually wanting to use some of my footage. Who's to say? After maybe an hour or two, Jimmy came out for the first bonus challenge. A single free throw. Miss and you're eliminated, but make it, and not only do you get to come back into the cube, you also win a Cybertruck for one of your subscribers. They had 50 people's subscribers just in a room waiting for something to happen. I'll be honest, when Jimmy explained the extra credit challenge, I was like, hell no, I'm not going up to miss a free throw and leave immediately after nothing's happened yet. If my subscriber back there knew what was going on, they 100% would have understood they weren't getting called up for nothing. If I remember correctly, maybe 2 people ended up making their baskets and 3 people were eliminated. I could be wrong. I don't remember because I didn't vlog it. While chatting with friends, Ludwig walked up and asked if I wanted to do a dice bet. With nothing else to do, I agreed. And to no one's surprise, I lost. And an evil expression washed over Ludwig's face. Alright, since you lost, I want you to walk up to Kai Sanat and introduce yourself with, "Hi Kai, I'm Jaiden. So which of my videos have you seen?" Maybe I should have just missed a free throw. "Hey Kai, there's someone I want you to meet." "Hey man, I'm Jaiden. Nice to meet you. So, which of my videos have you seen?" Excuse me? Holy shit, I'm gonna kill myself. "Oh, so which of my videos have you seen?" Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't seen any, I don't think. Ha! That's okay. Nice meeting you. Bye. Kai was super chill and nice about it, but oh my god, I wanted to rip my skin off. I'm stuck in this cube with him until further notice, and it's all Ludwig's fault with his stupid dice. I hate it in here. Let me out. Oh, hi, Jimmy. We were told to gather up in groups of 5, designating one as a team captain who will have immunity for the next challenge. I was with James, Schlatt, Ludwig, and Charlie Moist Critical, using the dice to choose the captain. This time, I actually rolled highest, but reassigned it to Ludwig because I couldn't cope with the idea of possibly being responsible for a teammate's elimination. And then it was revealed captains would just have to assign their teammates a shape for the Squid Game Honeycomb Challenge. Okay. Well, I definitely overthought that one. I had triangle, James got circle, Charlie was star, and Schlatt unfortunately got umbrella. The 10-minute timer began, and everyone started deploying various different strategies to get their cookie shape out. Charlie used a new technique called huck as much spit as you can into the tin to dissolve it all. It was really gross. He ended up filling the tin almost to the top with spit. By the end, 2 people with stars were eliminated, and not a single umbrella made it through. Bye, Schlatt. It was very funny seeing Mr. Beast lift the lid off Charlie's tin and immediately reel back in disgust, though. A total of 14 out of 50 people have now been eliminated, leaving 36 people. Honestly, that was good enough for me. Losing at any point going forward was already further than I was anticipating. We were fed our little thing of rations and left to wait again. It probably doesn't seem like long in Mr. Beast's video, but it was like 9 p.m. by the time we began the second real challenge. After being directed to choose a partner, James and I shook hands, ready to take on the next game as a team, and froze as it was revealed we had just chosen our own opponent. Another Squid Game tactic. I probably should have seen it coming, I just didn't expect the double up. The Beast staff revealed the next challenge as they rolled in a giant Jenga tower. Winner stays, loser walks. Unfortunately, the very first game of giant Jenga between KSI and AJ ended up taking literally 2 hours. Doing the math in our heads, we all kind of figured we probably didn't have the time to play Jenga for the next 30 hours. But just as AJ won, KSI hoisted him over his shoulders and ran out of the cube. No! Huge drama! Everyone was freaking out. AJ was stunned. No one knew what to do. Was that legal? Can you just carry people out of the cube? Jimmy had everyone take a vote, and pretty much everyone opted to bring AJ back in. Yes, out of the kindness of our hearts, but also out of fear of being manhandled. So since giant Jenga was a bust, production ended up scrambling to try and find like 12 sets of normal Jenga at midnight in North Carolina. A feat that seems impossible, but I feel like Jimmy could just call up the president of Jenga and have it all delivered via helicopter within 30 minutes. It took a bit, but the slightly larger than normal, yet still reasonably sized Jenga towers were all set up. As our game was going on, James and I ended up making a pact that whoever was eliminated would relay to the outside world that the other was okay, because we didn't have our phones, by the way. Our friends only knew we were in the Mr. Beast cube and haven't responded for 14 hours. Our game of Jenga was pretty intense. Eventually it got to the point where as I was watching James pull out a final piece, I realized there wasn't any left for me to safely remove. I'm about to be eliminated. And a flash of bliss washed over me. Sure, I'll be gone, but that's okay. I'll be set free into the outside world again. The cube is harsh, unforgiving. It's taken so many of my friends from me. The glass floor is hurting my butt. I'm ready to go now. And deeper into the trenches I went. James being eliminated meant I was moving on to Cube Day 2. What a miracle. Watching the rest of the Jenga games was like watching an active war zone. People were focusing, cheering, sweating, praying. Towers were falling one after the other at the feet of now eliminated players. It was brutal. And also still taking way too damn long, man. Can I go to bed? The last game left to finish was between Quackity and a popular Brazilian creator, Enaldino. Apparently, when it was revealed the challenge was Jenga, Enaldino turned to Quackity and admitted he was a Jenga pro. Quackity had never played. Not the situation you want to be in. Quackity half-jokingly asked Enaldino if he wanted to play rock, paper, scissors instead, to which he replied, no. Which, you know, fair. But 3 hours into this single game, the two of them were neck and neck. Genuinely the most cracked round of Jenga possibly ever. Everyone in the cube was gathered around watching Quackity slowly pulling out the very last piece in this skeleton of a Jenga tower. Just as he was about to make it, Enaldino asked, "Rock, paper, scissors?" Quackity looked up at him.
Muito tarde.
It was over. Enaldino tried to hang in there, but in the end, he fell. 18 people were now eliminated. Alright, it's 3 a.m. Let's go to bed. I genuinely thought they would let us go back to our hotel rooms for the night, but... Man, now this is just great. I won myself a ticket to a night in the Mr. Beast cube, sleeping next to a bunch of people I barely know, and I was probably just gonna get eliminated first thing in the morning anyway. As I was getting ready for bed, Kai walked by. "Hey, I gotta check out your videos sometime." "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I lost a bet to Ludwig and he made me say that." "Oh, shit." "Okay, damn." "Oh, well, that makes falling asleep a bit easier. Thank God he only thought I had a huge ego for 19 hours straight. Crisis averted." In the morning, production had to prep for filming again, which meant they turned on every single light in the building, flash banging all of us. They were turned off, and then these loud-ass brrrr sounds from construction started blasting. They turned the lights on again a few minutes later, but this time in a crazy strobe light effect for some reason. After breakfast rations, Jimmy returned, pointed to the entrance hallway, and in walks I Show Speed. With too much energy for a group of people that just had the weirdest sleep of their lives. Alright, you guys have the chance to vote Speed into the cube to join you in challenges. The kind thing to do was to let him in, but we all just survived trenches no one could even understand. We were trauma bonded together. And also, it wouldn't be fair. The majority of us moved to the voting side of no. Admittedly, me too. Mainly because I was a bit scared of him. Speed looked at Kai. "At least shake my hand, man." "You're gonna pull me out." As the two of them argued about a friendly handshake, Ludwig stepped up. "I'll shake your hand, Speed." His hand now extended to Ludwig. The moment their hands touched, Speed started yanking Ludwig towards the outside world. We all started screaming and panicking. We couldn't lose one of our cute brothers like this. Ludwig was holding onto the support beam for dear life. Some of the guys managed to pull him back in, and as Speed walked out, unable to take any souls with him, he exclaimed, "This ain't the last time you're gonna see me, and I remember all y'all's faces." Alright, let's get started. Challenge 3 was steal or no steal. Basically a modified version of deal or no deal. Some cases have the word safe in them, others say eliminated. One person looks inside a selected case, and the other decides whether they want to steal it or no steal it. And also Howie Mandel was there. Hi Howie, big fan. People started getting eliminated one by one, others securing safety. Eventually, Ludwig was up at the podium asking if anyone wanted to volunteer to go up. At this point, the ratio of safe cases was very high, 60% in favor of safe. Figuring the odds would just get messier from there, I volunteered. Ludwig looked inside his chosen case, looked up, and told me it was safe. I knew mathematically I should steal the case, but I've been burned by math before. As I started hesitantly saying I was gonna steal, Mr. Beast suddenly burst out saying Ludwig's heart rate was spiking. By the way, he was wearing a heart rate monitor, which made me scared it was actually an elimination case, and he was excited at the idea of avoiding going home. So last minute, I decided to let him keep the case. It was the safest play. If it said eliminated, then good, I dodged a bullet. If it was safe, then at least I'm not actually eliminated yet. I just have to play again. Shit. It was now my turn to bring someone up. Even though I didn't want to pick a friend out of fear of getting them eliminated, more than that, I didn't want to be up there with someone I didn't know. I picked Quackity. He came up to the podium. I grabbed case number 2. It says safe. My plan was to tell the truth, but in the most unconfident and nervous way possible. I was deploying every bit of body language knowledge I could think of, making myself look as guilty as possible as he asked me various questions. We went back and forth for a bit until your eyes looked down as you said the case was safe, which indicates guilt. So I think you're lying. I'm not gonna steal it. Without a word, I shifted the case onto its back, unlatched it. Safe. It was worth sleeping in the cube! Oh my god, the relief, you have no idea. After everything finished, a bunch of people walked out, and unfortunately, Quackity ended up being one of them. 10 people left. I know it's a dog-eat-dog world inside the cube, but when you're left to sit with your fellow contestants for hours on end between challenges, waiting for Jimmy Beast to send you all through another round of cube stress, you really start bonding with the survivors. It was pretty sad watching them go. Hours passed until the Jimmy death bell struck again, and we were told to partner up once more. Alex and I had really gotten to chat and hang out together as the only girls left at this point, so we paired up. Everyone was blindfolded and told to sit tight until they were ready, which is ominous. The two of us were strategizing and figuring out each other's strengths and weaknesses for whatever was coming our way, only to be unblindfolded and see the entire cube transformed into a kitchen. It was a cooking battle. We're actually fucked. What? Alex started panicking, saying she can't cook for her life. We were freaking out. Then Mr. Beast brought out the judges. Professional competitive eater Joey Chestnut, Miranda Cosgrove, hi big fan, and Speed. Bottom two teams are eliminated. Time starts now. We ended up committing to mac and cheese with a slice of chocolate cake, under the fancier title of American Comfort Food. AKA the only two women left in the challenge can't cook and they're trying their fucking best. The judges walked around to check in on everyone, and eventually Speed was at our station. So when you all were voting to let me in, which side were you on? Well, originally we were on the side of no, because we were a bit intimidated, but we ended up switching to a yes at the last minute. Right, Jaiden? Yeah. I switched. Alright, cool. 'Cause you know I don't forget, right? Yep. Later on, during the challenge, Mac and Nolan from the Beast team came up to ask what we were making. At the time, I was grating up Feastables to sprinkle onto our cake for decoration, and I thought, oh, it would be funny to have them ask what we're making, and it's just their own brand of chocolate. So I was like, close your eyes and open your mouth, and gave Mac a piece of chocolate, and immediately, without chewing, he was like, is this Feastables? And I was like, yeah. And he kind of stood there for a second with his mouth still open, and Nolan was like, oh, he's allergic. And they both had to leave. Oh my god, guys, I felt so bad. I apologized so much when he came back. Max said it was fine and is a good sport about it, but I still have so much guilt about being such an idiot. Ludwig and Amixem presented first with their fried chicken and asparagus dish. The judges all really enjoyed it, giving them a total of 26 points, which is really unfortunate because I definitely thought Speed was gonna hold a bigger grudge against Ludwig and tank their score. We were up next, and thankfully they really liked our food too. Joey was the first to score us and ended up giving us a 10 out of 10. And in the moment, as a joke, I wanted to turn around and flip off Ludwig as a, friendly fake gloat, but I accidentally turned around and flipped off Amixem, and I felt so bad again. He was not the intended target, and now I was just being rude, and this challenge was going horribly. Not because of the cooking part. I've just been nonstop fumbling socially. We also got a total of 26, putting us at a tie with the French boys. But now, Logan Paul and Nick DiGiovanni were presenting. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but Nick is actually a goddamn chef. They even gave us all his own cookbooks as a helpful tip for the challenge, which is just a knife twist in my opinion. So yeah, they knocked it out of the park, got a 29. The judges were licking their plates. After them was Kai and AJ, who had a great presentation, but their food, not so much. They got a 16. After eating, Speed got up and started smashing the plates on the ground, and Logan Paul saw this and got really excited because he wanted to smash plates too. Without thinking, he ran out to join Speed, and we all shouted at him in panic. Confused at the sudden change in the air, Logan looked back at us before realizing he left the cube. To this day, none of us are truly sure if he did it for, the content or it was a genuine accident. In his defense, the set was so cosmetically different that it really did feel like we weren't in the cube anymore. Either way, he content created too close to the sun, and even though he had a guaranteed spot in the finals, he was eliminated. The last team of Rubius and Spriter went up with their Spanish tortilla, but turns out Spriter is a huge fan of Speed, so he made a special special Thai dessert just for him that the other judges weren't allowed to eat, which is honestly hilarious. We all held our breath as the judges flipped through their scores. 22. Alex and I made it to the finals. I never in my life thought I was gonna be getting this far, and suddenly realized I need to actually think about what I would do if I won. I went into this thing not even knowing if there was a prize at all, and was now facing the reality that I could win the whole thing. Hours passed as the 5 of us sat together in the cube until Mr. Beast emerged for the final time. Someone was about to win $1 million for their subscribers, and it all came down to this last challenge. Honestly, among the group, there wasn't a single person I thought didn't deserve to win. Everyone left were good people who all wanted to do something really positive with the money. It was great getting to know them all over the course of 2 cube days, and I was really proud to be standing next to them in the finals. 5 briefcases were piled in the center, 1 for each finalist. We were to each take one, peek inside our chosen case, and within the next 10 minutes, discuss who to vote out. If you're voted out and your briefcase is empty, you're eliminated. But if you're voted out and your case has the $1 million inside, you win instantly. It was basically like reverse Among Us. The first round started, we all grabbed a case, peeked inside. Holy shit, I grabbed the $1 million case round 1. I started shaking. I didn't know what strategy to use. I didn't know how to make myself look like I should be voted out. And during the discussion time, it definitely showed because I was really quiet and nervous the whole time. The 10-minute discussion wrapped up. We all unanimously wrote our votes down, and it fell into a tie between voting out Ludwig and somehow me. It could end right here. We had a few minutes to discuss again and recast votes, but Alex and Nick were able to figure out I voted for myself, so Ludwig was eliminated. The cases were reshuffled. We each grabbed one. I pulled it again. In that moment, I froze. Since I was in the hot seat last round, I was probably gonna fly pretty under the radar this time. Someone else is gonna be voted out, and I statistically will not see this case ever again. If I'm not voted out here, I basically lose. The second round began, and it was pretty much a blur from there. I was trying to talk more because being quiet last round got me found out, but was still flying too under the radar. Amidst trying to keep up with the conversation, strategize, and hold myself together, I couldn't find my win con. But with a few minutes left, Amixem said something that I think shifted the entire game. What are the odds Jaiden pulled the $1 million case twice? There it was. Gambler's fallacy, save me. Save me, gambler's fallacy. I couldn't mess this up. I don't know what to say to that one. Everyone's attention was now on me, and I could tell they were all thinking about what was just thrown into the ring. We all looked down at our papers. I wrote my name as quietly as possible, worrying the sound of the letters were gonna out me. Jimmy read them all out. Jaiden. Alex. Jaiden. Jaiden. They voted me out. I slowly walked to the middle of the podium with my briefcase. In that moment, I was the only one who knew what had just happened. Everyone leaned in as I unlatched the case and revealed the $1 million. I won! Confetti cannons blasted. Everyone immediately started congratulating me. All the eliminated contestants left in the green room ran out screaming and jumping around me in celebration. I started to tear up for some stupid emotional reason. So yeah, I won $1 million to give away to my subscribers. That is a Looney Tunes amount of money. First of all, top 5 all agreed that whoever won the $1 million would give the other 4 $100K each to do something for their subscribers too. So a total of $400K will be going to Ludwig, Alex Botez, Amixem, and Nick DeGiovanni. With the remaining $600K, I decided to put it towards paying for as many people's art degrees as possible. It's really scary going into the art field right now between the animation industry hitting their rough patches, AI threatening to take artist jobs. The overall career path is extremely intimidating and difficult to break into. I'd really like to encourage and make it easier for some of the up-and-coming artists by being able to send them through art school stress-free. I have no idea how to set it all up, but I'm currently working with as many qualified people as I have available to me to make it happen. As my and Mr. Beast's team figures it out, I'll keep you all updated through my Twitter. We'll get it sorted. I entered the Mr. Beast cube ready to just talk to my friends and screw up in the first challenge, but instead I was isolated from the world for 48 hours, watched my peers fall one by one in front of me, and left with $1 million for my subscribers. Thank you, Carl, for inviting me. Thank you to all my friends who made the cube so much more enjoyable. Thank you, Mr. Beast, for creating this incredible opportunity I can now use to support artists. Despite being put through cube trenches, I had a really great time. And of course, huge thanks to the Beast crew for making it all happen. It was something I'll never forget or experience ever again. Hopefully. If you're an artist currently enrolled in art school and are hoping to have some of your tuition paid for with the cube winnings, you can now apply through the form I'll have linked in the description and the comments of this video. The form will be available for a week starting the day this video is uploaded, so be sure to check the calendar and apply before it's closed. I assume there's gonna be a huge amount of applications we have to go through, so expect a few months wait before we announce the winners. Thank you for your patience. I'm not sure how many people we can financially help out because everyone's tuition will be vastly different, but I'm looking forward to going through your portfolios and hearing your stories. Thanks for watching, and thank you to my team for dropping everything to work on this sudden video jump scare. Alright, until next time, bye-bye. Do you ever think to yourself, man, why is it so hard for me to just do the things I need to do, and focus, and remember things, and manage my time, and be organized, and remember things, and not get sidetracked? Ha! Yeah, me neither. When I was a kid, I was pretty much the picture-perfect depiction of a good student. I was well-organized, always turned in my work on time, got good grades. I even did my homework on Fridays instead of procrastinating until Sunday night. Sure, I didn't like studying and found it hard to focus during it, but who didn't? Saying all those qualities put together, that doesn't sound like the brain of someone with any kind of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, does it? I was well-behaved, didn't feel like I struggled much in school, and didn't cause any trouble. That is, up until I moved out of my parents' house for the first time to go to college. Gradually, I started slipping. I began skipping classes a bit when I just didn't feel like going, would wait until the last moment to start classwork, and lost a lot of motivation because I wasn't interested in any of my schoolwork. But overall, even though it was pretty out of character for me, I chalked it all up to the fact I was simply over going to school. At the same time, my YouTube was really kicking off, and all I wanted to do was that. Of course I wasn't gonna be as good of a student when the silly YouTube videos were doing numbers. I finished a single year of college and convinced my parents to let me take a gap year to see where this YouTube thing can take me. Spoiler alert, the gap year turned into me never going back. I'm a college dropout. So great, I've eliminated the boring school part of my life that weighs me down. Now I can go back to being organized with my new exciting passion job, which entails being my own boss and having to manage and assign myself all of my own responsibilities 24/7. Why are the voices not getting quieter? It's almost like everything was going backwards. I was having a much harder time staying organized and focused. If I didn't want to do a certain type of work, I would have to shackle myself down in basically an isolation chamber to be able to get it done. If I found a new interest, it was all I could think about. And why is it so easy to suddenly be on your roof watching a YouTube video on how to know when you need new shingles? I really didn't get it. Child me had it held together more than current me. What went wrong? I could look back and recognize how everything used to be so perfect and easy. Look at tiny Jaiden and all her ducks in that row. I used to color code every single binder I owned, and now I don't even know where I placed the $20 I literally just had in my hand 3 minutes ago. I haven't even left the room. Genuinely, where could it can go? Despite feeling like I was downward spiraling for multiple years, I never suspected it could be something related to a genetic neurodevelopmental disorder. I just thought I wasn't trying hard enough and being lazy, or applying myself like I used to. Oh, the woes of turning into an adult, I suppose. Maybe the best years of your life truly are in high school. How upsetting. I didn't even enjoy those either. But then one day I got a text from my brother. I got diagnosed with ADHD. It was a pretty big surprise for me because growing up, he never really seemed to show any of the typical symptoms you associate with ADHD. You know, people would always describe ADHD to me as super hyper kids who would run around the room and scream and generally be a lot. That wasn't my brother. He was quiet and well behaved like I was. But when he started explaining his symptoms, the gears started turning. Yeah, I've always struggled a lot with focusing in school and having things hold my attention when it's boring. But like, I could hyperfixate on things I'm interested in and get really passionate about that stuff. Hearing him talk about his personal symptoms of ADHD made a lot of sense, and I felt very freshly educated on the topic. And you'd think that I would immediately start looking into getting a diagnosis for myself, because if you were paying attention, my brother's experiences all sounded very similar to the same struggles I've been having in my own life, but related to work instead of school, because I dropped out. But nope, I was just like, good for you, bro. Happy for you. Or, I'm sorry, I don't know. Anyway, back to struggling to simply open up my drawing program as if 2 blocks of iron were welded to my wrists. Imbalance of brain chemicals? Nah, this just happens from time to time. It's normal. Just the laziness kicking in. I hate Mondays, am I right? Even though I didn't instantly think there was a possibility of me also having ADHD, the mental seed was planted. It's genetic, so I knew subconsciously it ran in the bloodline. It took a few years after my brother was diagnosed for me to really sit down with myself and consider that I, too, could have ADHD. Shocking revelation, I know. Foreshadowing, where did you come from? Things in the focus and productivity department were just getting worse and worse. I had the attention span of a cartoon dog, would completely forget things as soon as they entered my head, would hyperfixate on random stuff like an addict, and there was constant civil war happening inside my head to get one thing done, even though I knew it would only take like 15 minutes. You don't understand. It feels like physical torture to make myself sit down and lip sync a simple scene, like most of the time. You know, the thing I've been doing for 10 years at this point and am definitely used to doing. And yeah, once I've gotten going, then I'm honed in and you have to pry me away from it with a crowbar. I'm aware of that part. But nah, I'm still gonna scrap with myself to plant my ass in that chair because I don't even know why at this point. The biggest thing holding me back from feeling like I had ADHD has always been the simple memory of being in school and having my shit together. I know what it feels like to be on top of things and to be organized. I had it all in the palm of my little child hand. I just needed to summon it again with a bit more effort. But a light switched off in my brain and suddenly I'm just not capable of the things I used to be. And it feels pathetic. Simple tasks are such a mental burden, it feels like I'm out of control but can't do anything about it. So finally, I figured I would try and get myself diagnosed. What did I have to lose? If anything, they just tell me, no, you don't have ADHD, try a little harder and stop complaining. And yes, of course it took me like 8 months after deciding to get diagnosed to schedule the actual appointment. What did you expect? That's like the first checkmark box on the ADHD list. I started seeing a psychologist and he would ask the typical, do you have a hard time focusing? And I'd go, yeah, like this one time yesterday, and then he writes something down as I continue rambling on this hyper-specific example way too long for a neurotypical person. I met with him for a few weeks and then it came down to diagnosis day. The nerves, man. I was so ready for him to say I'm a normal person who needs to suck it up. But instead, he was like, okay, so yeah, you definitely exhibit symptoms of someone with the inattentive type of ADHD. And autism. Yippee! My struggles are justified. I'm not crazy. Wait, what was that last part? He explained all the different ways ADHD affects me and the different areas I struggle with compared to others. He even gave me a 37-page document of his conclusions and information on how my brain works, with graphs and pictures. I've read through it all a bunch of times now, and it's already really helped me understand how I tick. I call them the autism docs, but I'm not gonna get into that side of the diagnosis. Let's just brush that one away for now. There's a couple types of ADHD you can have: hyperactive, inattentive, and combined. which is both hyperactive and inattentive. Hyperactive is the type people typically go to when they think of a loud kid who can't sit still. People with this kind normally need to fidget, have low patience, tend to talk a lot, and have trouble staying seated, especially when they're expected to, like in a meeting or school. Inattentive is the one where someone experiences difficulty in focus, memory, organization, has a low attention span. That's the one I have. It's self-explanatory, but if you have the combined type of ADHD, then you got it all. ADHD jackpot right there, my friend. I brought up during the appointments that I used to be such a good kid in school with seemingly zero ADHD symptoms, and how that part has always confused me. And he had a couple hypotheses about it. One, since my mom has always been a big source of my organizational influence, I was able to depend and lean on her for the majority of my school life for it. I felt like I was naturally capable of staying on top of things because she was right behind me the whole time, reminding me and guiding me through stuff. So when I moved out, everything started crumbling, which lines up pretty perfectly to when I did start struggling. Another explanation he gave was the fact that ADHD affects women differently than men, which is also less researched. Love to hear that one. Not only do women tend to be able to mask their symptoms better than guys, so it goes much more unnoticed, but they also experience ADHD differently. And research says there's a chance it can just start affecting women later in life. I'm no ADHD scientist though, that's just what I've been told by specialists. I don't know, I've just got the dang thing. Either way, those two explanations make a lot of sense to me and have since put my weird ADHD imposter syndrome to rest. I didn't really think that getting a diagnosis would change much about how I go about my life, but since getting my ADHD certificate and lollipop, it's completely revolutionized how I think and go about getting things done. It's still hard to get my ass into gear when I need to do one normal thing that's not difficult, but I'm much less hard on myself and will strike almost like these kinds of mental deals to loophole myself into getting things done. Like, for example, if I really don't want to edit a video, I'll say to myself, okay, I know it's gonna be super hard for me to immediately start that task, so I'll get myself into the mindset of getting things done by doing a simple other task I don't find difficult, like cleaning my room. That way, I'll feel productive and can transition that into tackling the original task much easier. It doesn't always work, but it's the mindset change and overall understanding that sometimes I'm gonna have to go about things in different ways that's helped me a lot. Also, after being diagnosed with ADHD, I didn't have much desire to get medicated. I figured just knowing I have it would be enough to get things into gear, and I didn't really need medication that badly. But the content creator in me also thought, well, if I'm gonna write a script about having ADHD, it would be nice to be able to talk about what it's like to be medicated, even just for a day. So I got prescribed good old classic instant release Adderall. Instant release means I don't have to take it every day. I can just take it when I need to get stuff done. It affects me immediately and then wears off after a few hours. There's also extended release, which is the kind you take every day and gives you a constant steady stream of medication. It wasn't until I had the Adderall in my hands when I realized the idea of taking it for the first time made me nervous. Like, what is this thing gonna do to me? I have so many friends with ADHD, honestly a higher ratio than friends without it. That's how it goes in content creation. All these MFs have it. They were all telling me that it's awesome, how you'll take it and immediately feel like a god, and you can do anything and it's incredible. And yeah, that sounds great, but also like, what the hell? What do you mean I take this little pill and suddenly all of my problems seemingly disappear and I gain superpowers? That's scary. That sounds like the thing every adult in a 20-mile radius warned us about when we were kids. Am I gonna feel like a completely different person? I don't know if I'm ready to experience immortality. I put off taking Adderall for so long because I was irrationally scared of the tiny blue pill, but coincidentally, I really needed to get a script done. If I take too long to write a video script, then the team runs out of work to do, and then I have a bunch of people sitting around and waiting for me to give them more work so they can pay their bills and survive and stuff. But for the freaking life of me, I just could not get myself to sit down and write that script. My body and soul found it mentally easier to backflip off a bridge than write words on the computer. After literally 2 months of my brain going, ooh, you better write that script. I won't let you enjoy a single moment of your life if you aren't writing that script. I don't wanna. Get up, go to the bridge. After that constant loop, I finally swallowed my fears and took my first Adderall. I had talked to James a lot about what Adderall is like since he's been on it for a few years now. And after I took one, I was messaging him like, I did it. I ate an Adderall. How long does it normally take to start? How do I know? What do I do? And he was helping me a lot and giving me tips. Then, like 20 minutes later, I felt it. All the nonstop thoughts going on in my brain went silent. I could think clearly and in like a line. My mind wasn't racing a mile a minute. I was able to sit behind my laptop and write. It was incredible. I was messaging all my friends about it the entire time. I can write my script and not get distracted. I don't have to take a mental break every 10 minutes. I can remember things. Kelsey sent me a message and I thought, I'll check that in a bit. And I remembered to check it in a bit. And respond! When I opened a new tab to look something up, I didn't go down a random unrelated rabbit hole. I picked up my phone to check something and didn't impulsively scroll Twitter for an hour. I can write words so easily. How am I doing this? What do you mean I can feel like this whenever I want if I just eat the tiny blue pill? I refuse to believe regular people can function like this on a day-to-day basis. No way. It wouldn't be fair. You guys don't have loud, non-stop voices in your heads preventing you from doing normal things? Come on, just admit it. You can't pick something up and immediately keep remembering what you were supposed to be doing with it. You always forget and feel crazy. Come on. Come on. I was so suspicious that on Adderall, either nothing would happen and I just wouldn't feel anything, or I would feel like I'm a totally different person experiencing some higher than life manic episode. But no, I just felt like myself, but with my shit together. And that's the part I couldn't believe. After 2 months of war, I finally was able to plant myself down and write my damn script. You wanna know what script I wrote while experiencing Adderall for the first time? This one. I was struggling to write a script about ADHD, and the thing that finally pulled it out of me was Adderall. Come on, you gotta admit that's funny. Yeah, it was great. I didn't think my head was loud before, or I was that impulsive, or had that hard of a time focusing. But now that I've been able to peacefully sit in one spot for hours and not need to take a break, or check social media, or get distracted by some stupid tangent I don't actually care about, yeah, this changes things. I still can't believe what I was able to accomplish. Writing a script in 3 hours. Compared to my typical 12 hours, aka one mediocre thing with no struggle at all. And you want to know what I did right after I wrote this script? I immediately got up and cleaned the bird's room without rotting in bed for 3 hours beforehand. I just went from one task to another without thinking about it. All you neurotypical people must be thinking I'm literally pathetic and useless, but I know my ADHD brethren are out of their chairs right now hearing that. I'm not standing before you all to give you scientific data and information on ADHD, or diagnose you, or even promote prescribed drugs. I'm just here to talk about a big and recent experience in my life, how much of an impact and effect it's had on me, and how awesome feeling normal is. Seriously, being able to take a deep breath in mental silence is incredible. Cherish that feeling if you don't have a neurodevelopmental disorder. It took me 26 years to realize my woes were not actually woes, but symptoms of brain chemical deficiency. I'm writing this video, all things considered, pretty recently after being diagnosed, and I'm still trying to learn how to rebuild my life in a way that lets me optimize my productivity and get things done at a normal level. But so far, I've come so much further than I thought I could simply by knowing what's going on up there in the old noodle. And Adderall. If you're on the fence about being diagnosed with something, I get it. It's scary. It's scary to think you might have it, and it's also scary to think you might not have it. It's an odd place to be. But for me, having a concrete answer from a professional is what got me to finally stop feeling stuck in place and actually start moving forward again. It's been great. I'm excited to keep learning more things about how my mind works and find new ways to improve my day-to-day life. Cheers to getting normal shit done. In case you missed it, I have new merch! For a limited time, you can get yourself a new and improved Ari plush and a completely new soft Ari jacket. I love both of these products, and up until June 23rd, they could be all yours! If you miss it, you'll never know how fluffy and pillowy the jacket is. Oh, it's like a cloud. Or how cuddly and friend-shaped the plush is. Plus, it's a great way to support both me and the team while we continue to make animations for you. Check them out at JaidenAnimations.com. Thanks for watching the video, and good luck simply existing to all my ADHD brethren out there. I'm right there with ya. I believe one day you'll respond to that message in your inbox. Hang in there. Do you want to join soccer? Not really. My mom had me in physical activities before I was even able to comprehend the idea of free will. But that's not anything I'm complaining about. I really enjoyed most of them, and it got me being active really early in life. If mom didn't do that, I definitely would have just sat on the floor of my room and played with a light bright for 15 years. When I was 4, my mom was like, "Alright, up and at 'em, future diva! Time to get those feet a-tapping!" Since I was so young, I really don't remember anything about dance classes. I know we had a tumbling part where we would spin around or do somersaults. And I think there was a giant foam cheese wheel I would run full speed into. I don't know what that was all about. I also have this distinct memory that when I was on my way to class, I was chewing gum in the back seat, and for some stupid reason I took it out of my mouth and started playing with it, except it started sticking to my fingers the more I tried to get it off, and by the time mom opened the door to let me out, one dance recital, I was doing this routine with other girls in front of the parents. I was in the center like the little queen I was. And apparently, in the middle of the performance, the girl on the left froze up and stopped dancing. Megan, I swear to God, if you ruin my big moment, I'll put gum in your hair. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal, but there was a part where we had to start shuffling to the side, and she still wouldn't move. So what did I do to continue the show? I grabbed her tiny 4-year-old hand. We looked at each other, I nodded, and her eyes lit up with determination. We danced in sync for the rest of the show, hitting every step perfectly, and got a standing ovation from all the parents as we were showered by flowers. Just kidding, I started pushing her as I was dancing because she was in my way. After blowing it out of the water and becoming too good at dance with gum webs and shoving away the competition, I dropped it and started cheerleading. And I don't remember anything about that era at all. My parents could be like, "No, you never did cheerleading." And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay." One time getting out of my dad's car to go to practice, I slammed the door onto my thumb and was like, "Dad!" And that's it, that's all I got for you. It doesn't have anything to do with cheer at all. But here's a picture of me doing some cheer thing for proof I did it. And also, here's my thumb. Yes, I still have it. Next up was gymnastics. That was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Not because we were doing a bunch of crazy flips and spinning around bars. Nah, I was just a freaking pussycat. I was so bad at everything. I was the first to fall over with the wall handstands. I couldn't do a single pull-up. Still can't. I didn't know why people kept yelling, "Stick it" at me. Yeah, stick it to the man. I was so wimpy and bad, I was the kid the coaches had to pull aside during practice and be worked on one-on-one. While everyone else was having fun in the foam pit, I was taken off to the side to work on not being a failure. Jaiden, lean back. I'm spotting you. We're gonna do a back bend. No, I can't do it! Just lean back. My arm is right here. Never! I have no reason to trust you! Stick it to me. I didn't spit in anyone's face. But I was never able to do a backbend because I trusted no one and thought I'd just fall over and die. I was a woke 6-year-old. Already knew not to trust anyone but myself. Aren't you the one who slammed your own thumb into a car door? And then one time, I was at a friend's house jumping on her trampoline, and I landed on my knees weird and somehow spun it into an excuse to stop gymnastics. Yay, quitting! Not a prodigy-born gymnast? Well, alright then, how about soccer? I played soccer for a long time, just like everyone else has, and actually really enjoyed it for a while. My first team was called the Pink Panthers, because our uniforms were hot pink. I was the nerd of the team that kept a stuffed animal Pink Panther in my soccer bag for good luck. It didn't work, we sucked butt. But it was still a lot of fun. Coincidentally, one time we played against another team that was also pink. They were called the Pink Panthers. Alright, Pink Panthers, we've got a big game this weekend against the Pink Panthers. Well, it sounds like we win either way. All the parents would be trying to cheer for us, but it was pretty confusing because it would just turn into, "Go Pink go hot Pink Panthers! Come on, light Pink Panthers, you got this! Don't pass it to the other team, that's your own goal! Whatever. I ended up not liking soccer after a while because everyone was getting more and more intense about it. Freaking destroy them, Amelia! Kick their shins! Yellow cards are just warnings! How about we just have fun, guys? I couldn't keep up with the burning hunger for victory everyone else started developing, and I started getting really scared. Whenever there was a one-on-one charge to the ball, I would run at full speed to look like I was dedicated and wanted to win. But at the last second, I just run past him because I didn't want to get plowed or kicked in the face. And then I kept running and ran all the way home. Call me selfish, but I wasn't taking a soccer ball to the face for this madness. I wasn't that devoted to the team. Like, I don't mind losing. During soccer, I also tried karate for a couple years, and enjoyed that too. Until it started getting more extreme and everyone was gaining an undying thirst for intensity again. Hey, this is kind of fun. There isn't much to say here. I enjoyed it for a long time. My brother and I were in the classes together. That was some fun sibling bonding time. Yeah! We participated in little tournaments where we would perform our forms and spar each other. Sometimes we would have to perform forms to music, and it was like a little dance recital, except without any 4-year-olds that needed to be shoved off the stage. And I'm not gonna show any footage of those tournaments because it's very embarrassing, and I don't need that on the internet.
They were taking them down. It's an ancient Chinese art. Everybody is their thoughts. Motivating to escape.
Finally, in 6th grade, I dropped everything and started up tennis, which was the first sport I actually got the hang of and loved. I even joined the high school team, which was cool. One time when we were practicing after school, the guys' track team was doing warm-ups by the courts, so they were all lined up behind the fence in the sitting area. It was pretty chill. We were doing our own thing and stuff, but every once in a while, one of them would make a stupid comment like, "Yeah, you go, girls. Come on, hit it harder." No one took note of them because they were just pesky boys and we were too busy kicking butt. But at one point, I smacked the ball hard enough that it bounced and stuck right into the fence where one of their faces were. I don't like showing off in front of guys or people or anything. That's not at all my thing. I can be attracted to all genders, which is normal and not a big deal, and would still rather just stand in a dark corner and not draw attention to myself and be invisible. But the shock on his face and the fact he stumbled back a bit out of surprise, freaking hell yeah. That made me feel like All Might for a sec there, with his sassy attitude and taking no bull from anyone. Haha! I am here! Little side story. Tennis practice in the Arizona summers were frickin' brutal. It would be 116 degrees outside and we would be playing for 3 hours. There were points where people would be in the middle of a match, go off to the side to throw up, and then get right back into playing. Blech. 15 love? And that's it. That's all the sports I've been involved in during my lifetime so far. I'm glad I have all those experiences because I feel like they gave me a lot of spice and variety to my life during those times. It's really important for your health to keep active, and I had a lot of fun just being a kid running around and doing sports and feeling great. And now I do nothing but sit behind a computer and draw for 11 hours straight. The end. Oh hey, funny seeing you here. It's been a while. Sorry about that, but also, I'm not too sorry because I was away on family vacation and I had a good wholesome time because I love my family and want to spend time with them. Anyway, it's been forever since I've done any sort of sports whatsoever because I stopped pretty much as soon as I left high school. There would be a few times where my friend Kate and I would try to go out and play tennis again and be like, yeah, it'll be fun to hit the ball around, just like old times. And then we'd suck because we haven't even looked at a tennis racket in like 2 years. One time in 10th grade, there were these two guys in my chemistry class talking about sports, like the stereotypes they were, and one of them was like, is tennis a sport? And I'm thinking to myself, no, that wasn't a real question. He's goofing. And the other was like, I don't think so. And in my head, I immediately stabbed myself in the brain. Tennis is a sport. It's not an opinion. And I've got hard proof. Hey Siri, is tennis a sport?
Which league? ADP or WTA?
ADP?
The US Open took place between
She didn't even question it. She just went, what league? Boom, not even open for discussion. Siri, shut that down real quick. Thanks for watching the video. Talk to you later. Tennis is a sport. If you disagree, you can fight Siri. Bye.
We all know those people, the few dim bulbs of the group. Now, they don't necessarily have to be called stupid, but their actions just make you go, ugh. Now, I'm fine with people not using the full extent of their brain cells to do things, but when their stupidity starts affecting me, then we're gonna start having some problems. The rule disregarder. Someone who either doesn't listen to rules or flat out ignores them. I had a class with this one person. I'm just gonna keep his identity a secret. I don't know what was wrong with him. He did lots of questionable things that made the class just shake their head. One time, he asked the teacher if he could use a pen to fill out a bubble test. And if you don't understand how bubble tests work, normally you get a bubble sheet, fill out a multiple choice test corresponding to the letters on the test, and the teacher gives the filled out forms to this machine and it grades the test a lot faster than the teacher can. But the machine only works when you fill it out with a number 2 pencil. Maybe the guy didn't know how they worked, so I guess it wasn't a bad question. But a few weeks later, when we had another test, it turns out the same guy used, a pen to fill out his test. Really, guy? Really? And as the teacher was yelling at him for being so ignorant, it was noticed that he didn't even put his name on the test either. The advice: ignore. When you give advice to someone, they ignore it, and they end up in this huge, problematic situation that you predicted perfectly and they could have avoided if they just took your advice from the beginning. Tori, do you think I should date Aaron or Jet? Aaron has had at least 24 girlfriends and he's cheated on all of them. I'd say Jet. Oh my god, girl, wait! Aaron just asked me out to the carnival tonight. I have to go with him. I'll see you later. Oh my god, Tori, Aaron bailed on me for some blonde who isn't even hot. You have to come pick me up. Aaron was my only ride home and I'm getting hecka wet in the rain! The non-future planner. Someone who doesn't think of the consequences of their stupid actions before they make them. Once when I was in 4th grade, I was in the school bathroom and as I was walking down the little corridor to go into the stall, some girl randomly started yelling, "I'm gonna kick the door open!" And all of a sudden I heard this loud poof as one of the stall doors flew open at my face. Now luckily, I was a master of karate arts when I was little, so my reflexes were lightning fast, and I was actually able to block the door with my arm instead of my face. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty proud of myself because I've never done anything that amazing before. But, I mean, come on. If it wasn't me standing there and instead some, I don't know, poor little kindergartner who couldn't block the door if they tried, there could have been some major issues. I even had a pretty bad bruise on my arm from where I blocked it. Be ignorant. When someone doesn't pay attention to their surroundings, when they could be a hazard to something or themselves.
Jeff, where do you want these knives? Oh, hey, Jeff, didn't see you there. Dawn wanted them over by the cabinet over there. Hey, Dawn! Jeff said you wanted these over there. What? No, they're the knives you wanted. Yeah. You sure? Okay, catch. No? Okay, I'll sprint them over to you.
The important detail overlooker. Someone who is told important details and immediately forgets them. Okay, so for the party tomorrow, you said you can bake the cookies? Yep. Do you want a specific kind? Nope. I can eat everything but peanuts, so everything else you want is fine. Hey, glad you could make it. What did you bring? Peanut butter cookies. You want one? They're still warm. Hello?
Let's start off being honest right off the bat. I have no idea what this video is. I just had a random idea in my head. What if I tried to make a video that has literally no point to it? So here we are. Over the course of like a month or two, I started jotting down some of the random things that have crossed my brain and stuff along that line. Not the kind that are philosophical or have a deeper meaning, just the stupid ones. This video might change the way you view me as a person. Whatever, I don't care. Let's get started. I was going through my phone contacts the other week, and I was like, you know what? I want to get rid of the people I don't really need to have in here. Some contact spring cleaning. So I started deleting people I've never talked to, and the further in I got, the more I was thinking, who are these people? Where'd they even come from? Jacob Acorn? I've never met a Jacob Acorn before, the frick? And then there'd be people where I only added their first name. Ashley, I'm assuming Newberry?
Yeah, delete. I don't talk to her. Ooh, wait. Wrong Ashley. Well, I accidentally just permanently erased some other Ashley from my life. Also, that whole process made me realize I have way less friends than I thought I did. Like, I didn't have too many to begin with, but I deleted a lot more people than I thought I would, and my contact list is far smaller than it was before. What if dogs were the humans of the earth? Like, instead of a human society, it was dogs. What would they create? Would they build a government? What would their education system be? Would they create dog hobbies and dog sports? I'm not talking about the typical throwing frisbees and tennis balls. Maybe they'd create a game where they wear face harnesses with a scoop that can hold a ball, and they have to toss the ball into a hole on opposite sides of the court, each hole providing a different amount of points depending on its difficulty. Kind of like soccer or football combined with basketball. And there's teams, so they need to strategize and work together to win against the other dogs. Would they create art and music and invent things? Do they have passions that we couldn't think of? Like, if humans were just a wild animal, it would be much harder for us to realize that, say, playing a saxophone was your passion, because, wild animals can't invent saxophones, silly. So you'd never discover that side of yourself. But what if dogs could discover their passions and creative sides like humans? I'd want to go to a dog art museum and see what kind of art they'd make. Aren't you curious? If dogs had the intelligence and creativity of humans, what would they do with it? Could they run Earth better than we are? In a weird way, I'd kinda hope so. In horror movies, why is it always the piano that's the haunted, pretentious, scary instrument? I've seen the scenarios where pianos play themselves, the keys are smashed down to make a really ugly sound, maybe the occasional lid will slam down and kill someone. Is it because people see them as elegant yet ominous at the same time, setting up a good atmosphere? I want to watch a horror movie where instead of walking into a big empty room with a haunted grand piano in the center, a character walks into a big empty room and sees a ghost playing. I'd be much more engaged in a movie like that. Just saying. Why does nobody talk about half-popped popcorn kernels? They're just as good as the full-popped ones. After you've consumed 97% of your popcorn, you get to the kernels at the bottom, and instead of throwing them all away, you should crunch on the ones that are semi-popped. Heck! If you don't eat the half-popped kernels, you're missing out on some of the best things in life. One time I was at the grocery store getting groceries. Yeah, great script right in there, Jaiden. That was poetic. And at the checkout, I could tell the cashier was new at her job. Not like she was doing everything wrong, but you could see she didn't have the fluid motion down of a professional grocery store scanner. Those people have it down like it's an art form. It's beautiful in a strange way. So she was scanning the things, and she got to the cilantro. You probably know this, but you can't just put a barcode sticker on cilantro. I think some stores will wrap a tag around it, but the place I was at just had a serial code that the cashier had to manually punch in. So the girl was flipping through the book that had all the serial codes in it, and she couldn't find the cilantro code. I've never mentally connected so much with a stranger before, because I knew exactly what was going on in her head. She was trying to quickly find the code because she didn't want to feel like she was taking up time by being slow, but in the stress of trying to quickly find the cilantro, her brain was getting frantic, which made her gradually start internally freaking out even more because she felt like she was taking way too much time trying to find the code, repeat cycle getting more and more intense every time, and maybe after a minute of her trying to find the code, she just silently put the cilantro in the bag. She gave me free cilantro out of panic. It was a good day. Also, did you know there's a website dedicated to hating cilantro? www.ihatecilantro.com. They write haikus. Stressing about a close deadline is kind of relaxing in a sociopathic kind of way. We've all done it. You procrastinated a bunch on a project and are in the phase of crap, because it's due tomorrow and it's already 10:45 p.m. and you've only got like 0% done. But if you think about it, it's kind of nice to see it as, well, I'm totally stressed and panicked out of my mind right now and would rather just self-implode, but this feeling is only gonna last for a few more hours. since the deadline's so close. If you didn't wait until the last minute, it would have been a less intense but drawn out feeling of dread while working, versus this approach, which even though is 10 times more mentally and emotionally draining and likely very bad for your health, only has to last for like 1 day, maybe even 12 hours if you really push it, so pick your battles. But don't say I told you which one to choose. I'm not responsible for any crummy projects you haphazardly spit out. That's still you. My parents' house had really big windows in the living room, and sometimes birds would fly into them. Most often hummingbirds. Whenever one did, I would go outside to where it landed, and if it didn't die from slamming headfirst into a window, I would pick it up and help it calm down and recover from being stunned. A lot of people would probably say not to do that because it's a wild bird that can have wild bird diseases. And they're probably right, but imagine if you did that with humans. Some kid is outside running around, they blindly run right into a tree and collapse on the ground. You run over to help them, and when you get to them, you go, sorry kid, you've got a cold. Can't help you out, buddy. Also, are you envious that I've gotten to hold a hummingbird before? One even fluttered around me when it recovered. I'm a bird master. Like I said in the beginning, I was jotting all these down over a relatively long period of time, so I didn't just write all these in one go. And after looking at the list I made, I realized I wrote half-popped popcorn 2 separate times at different occasions. I guess past Jaiden just felt extremely compelled to talk about half-popped popcorn. It is really good, though. Why do kids on the internet feel the need to tell their age so frequently? You see it all the time. I'm 13. I'm 6. I'm 2. Is there a reason they do it? Do they think it's vital information they need to convey? Whenever I see a comment that starts with, I'm 9, and my brain kinda automatically writes off whatever they're about to complain about, I'm not saying people these ages don't say anything valuable to me. I really enjoy seeing, I'm 6 and really liked your video, because then it feels like that message was written with full child pureness. You know the kind. They're still innocent beings that haven't experienced the cruelness of reality yet, but any other time, it's just a detail that adds nothing else to their statement. One time I got an email that said, I love your vids, I'm 7. So I responded with, thanks. I'm 19. Do they feel like they're obligated to express their age? Do they think they're asserting dominance? Is it an accomplishment to them? More mysteries I have yet to find out. I'm not gonna lie, I won't lie, this is definitely... No, this video was really fun to make. It was so different and experimental and all over the place. I don't know, I just had so much fun making it. I was thinking about doing a video like this for a while, just like little random topics that aren't enough to make an entire video about on their own. I haven't seen anyone else do this kind of thing before either. I could be wrong. Maybe there's like hundreds of people who already made videos like this before and I'm not being creative at all. If so, then okay, whatever. Again, it was pretty experimental and just, I don't know, I kind of like the chaos and unpredictability of it. If you liked this format, I'd totally be down to make another one sometime. But if you're like, wow, Jaiden, this was the suckiest video that ever sucked, then I probably won't make another. That wouldn't be a smart move on my part. Well, I had fun. And that's all that matters. Also, see you at VidCon. It's that time of year again. Ari turns 3 this year, which means he'll be dead in approximately 27 years if all goes according to plan. The clock's ticking, Ari. When are you gonna get a job? But for now, we can just focus on giving him a good birthday. Since he's still just a wee lad, he hasn't accomplished much yet. And the world is full of amazing treasures to be experienced, like making friends, or, I don't know, going to a park. Oh, wow. Oh yeah, Ari, look at you go.
Wow, look at you!
There you go.
Now wasn't that fun? Getting back to the making friends part, believe it or not, Ari's actually made another bird friend. He's not as socially inept as I thought, since he hates everything but bells and spaghetti. My buddies Jordan and Kelsey also have a bird named Baby Jim, so when the two of them met, they became instant best friends. They snuggle and get each other's pin feathers and poop on my computer together. They're practically inseparable, and it's frickin' adorable. Except for the double poop. That part is not as good. Since it's Ari's special day, I thought we could make a nice dinner for them to celebrate together. I invited Jordan, Kelsey, and Joel too, but Joel, you're uninvited because I forgot Ari doesn't like you. Careful.
Ah!
We got a bunch of party stuff. So, Jordan, you're working on the spaghetti, so maybe Gelsey and I can, we can decorate the table.
Alright.
We got confetti. Want to sprinkle some on the table?
Well, I want to open it gently. I don't want it to just...
Gelsey!
No, you said... I think I got confetti in my eyes, guys. Aww.
You got a little heart.
Jordan, what's your spaghetti secret?
Garlic bread.
I got a lot of candles. They only came in packs of 24. Oh, it's the fanciest thing Ari's ever gonna be a part of. Oh, it's so cute! Ari. Oh, get on the table. Oh no!
You got confetti in your spaghetti.
Wanna see it? No, it's spaghetti. Oh sh! Oh no! You want spaghetti?
You have saucy feet. Oh, that's the good stuff, isn't it?
Oh, it's a good party after all.
Yeah. Oh, good boy.
Oh, it's like Lady and the Tramp.
He's got spaghetti on his wing, right here.
Does he?
Yeah. I want to see what happens when they meet.
Oh, Ari just took the whole thing. Maybe it's time for cake. It's a bird cake. Want to know how I got the candle in? Oh, nope.
Can we pretend to eat it? Will he eat it?
Do you want to try and eat it?
It's like a UFO. Hey.
I'm eating styrofoam. It's good.
Get a piece.
Oh my god.
See, now you like it.
Oh, see, it's good.
Look at Ari, he's got his piece too.
We could just pretend that they're eating right next to each other.
There you go.
What if we take the plate away? Maybe he doesn't like gay. Oh, there we go. Go get it.
Get it, baby Jim.
Get it, baby Jim.
Why is there a staple? Ari, why do you have a staple? Want the toy? Why are you on the floor? Come here. Where are you going?
He's gone.
Bye, Ari.
Last year, we supported a local bird rescue with helping fund their renovations, which they were really thankful for. I followed up with Anika, who works there, and she said with the donations, they were able to revamp the electrical work and AC to be more stable, and are in the process of building more aviaries and a shed for extra storage. I was blown away with how much we were able to help, and I want to do something like that again this year. This time, I want to help out the Bird Gardens of Naples. They're a non-profit Florida-based organization that takes care of birds that need a home and prioritize education on general bird knowledge and care. They put a lot of time and effort into caring for the birds they have, and all the donations they receive get put back into the birds through vet bills, flight cages, toys, renovations. I asked them to set up a GoFundMe for this occasion, and if you donate at least $10 to it, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a special Ari's birthday shirt or an Ari plush. I'm giving away 20 shirts and 10 plushes, and they all come with a signed card. I've also donated $1,000 to the rescue as well. If you can't donate or want to do more, there's links on their website to volunteer, adopt or sponsor a bird, or just tour the sanctuary. I hope Ari enjoyed his birthday, even though he's a little brat poopy bite toddler. He's my buddy, and I love him very much. Hopefully we can celebrate by doing good things for the birds and eating spaghetti.
You already know I like art. But there's other things to me, you know? Aside from art. I like other things too. Like art. In instrument form. When I was 5 years old, my mom put me in piano lessons. And even though I didn't understand what piano really was at the time, it just became a part of me as I grew up, and I still enjoy it to this day. If you didn't know I play piano, then you must be very new here. Do your research. I literally posted a piano video like, what is it, 6 videos ago? Nah, just pulling your leg. It's fine if you didn't know. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. But I mean, it was only 6 videos ago. So, I took lessons at this little place down the road. It was quaint and homey, just a really great atmosphere. The owner was this sweet old lady, and she had so much passion for running the place and teaching kids piano. It was great. Until around 8 years later when the place was bought out by another owner. I don't know the exact details, but I'm assuming it was because the place was going downhill a bit and the owner couldn't keep it. So now the little piano place is being run by new people. And they sucked. They literally had no care or respect for the place and only wanted to make money. All the passion was gone and you could feel the life drain out of the poor place every day. They branched out to other lessons, which doesn't seem bad, but there would be electric guitars playing at the same time as violins, and during my private lessons there would be some kid blasting it on the drums a couple rooms down. Nothing worked. There was no synergy. But no, it got worse. The new owners renovated the place to add dance lessons. So not only are there frickin' drum solos playing at the same time as one-on-one piano lessons, but now there's an extra layer of background noise of bad hip-hop music. I remember trying to play a Mozart piece I was assigned, and halfway in we were interrupted by a lot of people were complaining, but the owners didn't listen. Or care. More variety means more profit, so off with you, peasants. We decided to leave when they added karate classes, so that's how I stopped lessons. To be honest, I already knew the basics of piano and they were kinda just throwing songs at me to learn, and when I got it down, I just move on to the next and totally forget about the previous one. You know, like when you study for a test just to pass and then walk out of class the same day like, nice, now I can forget everything. So I was kind of getting bored of the whole routine anyway. For 2 years, I stopped playing piano. I thought I could only play what teachers told me to and wasn't interested in the majority of what they were giving me. I was tired of the typical classic songs and stuff. Not trying to say classical or any of that style of music is bad. I was just sick of learning them and was overall disinterested. Keep in mind, I was doing it for 8 years. In the summer of my junior year of high school, I remember hearing a Pokémon song and thought, you know, this would be really pretty on the piano. I wonder if people have made it into sheet music. And thus, I was introduced to a whole new world of piano music. Jaiden, you aren't a real pianist unless you only play Beethoven and Chopin and Mozart. Anything else is a disgrace to the piano. What are you doing? Do you mind if I use this scalpel to just try and make a big incision in your head? What? Why? You seem a bit close-minded. I started downloading a bunch of video game sheet music I was attached to, and I was re-inspired to pick up piano again. Yay, happy ending! Don't give up on your dreams, kids! Sparkles, fireworks. But what you don't know, unless you know me personally, or have been stalking me for the past 14 years of my life, is that I've actually had my fair share of playing a lot of other instruments too. I was a bit of an instrument dolphin, diving into one instrument, dropping it, and diving into a new one. Repeat cycle. The United States education system is dumb. I think we all already knew that. Also, shout out to Arizona for being one of the best states in the US for education. Haha! So I don't know about you, but my elementary school forced 3rd graders to take a Suzuki class where you learn how to play the violin. No one liked it except the 3 or 4 kids whose parents already forced them to learn violin before that. The only thing I looked forward to in that class was trying to get the special violin case with the black interior instead of the normal blue. I realize now that was just the school having absolutely no money and buying whatever they could find to have enough violins for the amount of students. But it was special to me, alright? Nothing else to say about my violin experience. I literally don't remember anything else but just wanting to be the first to the only black violin case. Don't turn that into a racial thing. Looking at you, Wall Street Journal. In 4th grade, they let us choose if we wanted to stick with the violin or switch to a viola, cello, or bass. I chose the cello. Nothing else to that story either. I just played the cello for a year and then dropped it. There was this one girl in class who was literally the smallest out of everyone. Insert easy typical short joke. She chose the bass. The thing was frickin' 2 times the size of her, height and weight-wise. It was almost torture watching the poor girl haul this obnoxiously large instrument to class every week. So that's how the Egyptians built the pyramids. The school also forced us to learn the recorder. That was a nightmare. All I remember about those days were guitar! Dudes, calm down with the instruments. What are you trying to do? Turn us into a parade? Again, the school was shoving more instruments down our throats when they barely had the budget to pay for complimentary pencils in their own classrooms. Hey, I don't think you need to be throwing away your money to random crap. You know, I think there's some other people there who could benefit from a bit extra in their salaries. So the school bought guitars, but not enough guitars. They couldn't afford enough for all the students in a class, so we had to share them in groups of 3. 3! Not even 2! You tried? One student would have to play a chord, and then the other 2 would just stare at them. No one learned anything. Imagine trying to learn how to write the alphabet. But hey, no. You can't write the letters. You have to watch someone write the letters. Kinesthetic learning style? What's that? School... What are you doing? Are you actually trying to be low on that education list? You know you're supposed to try for first, right? It's not a high score kind of thing. You're not supposed to go for 50. Finally, of course, there was the typical band option in 5th and 6th grade. The instrument I chose was the flute. The main reason was because when the band teacher came in to show us all the instruments we got to choose from, he let us try and play them without any experience. And when he was explaining the flute, he was like, okay, now the flute is one of the hardest to pick up. It's a bit more complicated than it looks. You've got to figure out the exact special way to align your lips to make the sound because it's very particular. Holy Mother, I am the chosen one. This is a sign from the heavens. Great God, Apollo has destined me to play this flute. Get wrecked, mates! I actually really liked playing the flute. Since I already knew how to read sheet music from my piano lessons, I was already a step above most of the students, and I had fun. But I had to drop it after 6th grade because taking band in junior high didn't fit into my schedule. Instead, I chose to take an art elective. And you know where that led to. Alright, serious business to talk about here. It's actually important. I've noticed a lot of people have been going out of their way to send threats and really horrible messages to other people that, I guess, create similar content to mine. And I just wanted to say, dude, like, stop. I'm getting embarrassed on behalf of what you're doing. These people aren't copying me or anything. They're just having fun making videos. Calm down. They're getting really unmotivated and sad. You're kind of ruining it for everyone. You may not believe it, but what you say and do online does have an impact on people. You have the power to really hurt someone, but at the same time, you also have the power to make someone happier. So I mean, it's your choice if you want to create a good impact or a bad one. Like, I don't really care what you do. I'm not here to be your mom. Freedom of speech and everything. But, I don't know. Stop comparing everyone to each other. Just let them do their thing. They're not pretending to be me or anything. There's a difference between taking inspiration and straight up copying. Think about it. If everyone was copying each other, then there would only be like a few channels on YouTube. Only one animation channel, only one gaming channel, only one vlog channel, etc. Everyone else is a copy in your eyes, right? What makes channels different are the personalities behind them. Content can be similar, but everyone's so unique identity and charisma-wise that every channel is kind of in their own category. Just everyone chill, okay? Cool. Have a good rest of your day. I grew up only wanting to watch cartoons for the most part. I never tried to drift into other shows or movies with real people and actors. Normally, if something had actual humans in it, my 7-year-old self would be like, real people? No thanks, Bourville. I don't want to watch anything unless there's mutant super children who are birthed from a crock pot. I like to believe I'm a really open-minded person now. I don't just blow things off like that. I generally don't feel like I have the right to judge or have a strong opinion on anything unless I've researched and tried to understand every aspect of it first. That way I can use all the facts to come to my overall standpoint. It's easy to hear just one detail about something and jump to a conclusion. People form opinions based on their personal values and beliefs, but only knowing certain details can change things instantly. Here's an example. Judy saw Ron push her dog. Wow, what the heck? Ron's some rotten dog hater. Frick Ron, dude. Now hold on a sec. It's easy to believe that, but actually, Ron pushed Judy's dog because the dog attacked his child, and Ron was only protecting his kid. Whoa, really? Judy needs to put her dog down. It's a hazard to everyone around it, attacking kids and crap. I can't believe she'd be okay with owning a rabid dog. She probably didn't take care of it. Judy's a horrible dog owner. Okay. Untamed dogs are a safety problem for sure, especially around children. But you didn't realize the dog only attacked Ron's child because they were teasing the dog with an ice cream cone and the dog just jumped up onto him wanting a taste. Well then, it's the dumb kid's fault for... I'll cut off the story here because I could add so many more layers to it. But you see how quickly your views can change if you don't know all the details to something? At every new point, the resulting opinion wasn't necessarily wrong or incorrect, although I made them extreme for emphasis, because you were forming a standpoint based on the only information you had. But yeah, that's my tip for the day. Look more into things and do research before you make a super strong opinion on something. This whole video got way off track real quick. I'm gonna go back to talking about what I was gonna talk about in the first place. So TV. Once I got older, I still mainly only watch cartoons. But I've developed an extreme love for documentaries. You don't even realize you can be interested in something you never even realized you didn't care about until you watch a documentary about it. Like one time my best friend Kate and I sat down and watched one about the voice and puppet actor behind Elmo. It was mesmerizing. Totally random. You'd never even think about wanting to learn about something like that, unless it's like 4 a.m. and you're in that weird fever dream phase. I think it's funny when documentaries go all cinematic with their shots. Like when the main guy's walking, looking off into the distance, on a journey, one man versus the world. People never understand him. It's not a phase. He'll show them all. Because I can only imagine how awkward it is to set up those shots. First, the cameraman has to walk like a quarter mile away while the main guy just waits there, or vice versa. Next, he has to signal he's ready for the guy to start walking. Maybe through cell phone, maybe walkie-talkie. I think it's more funny to imagine he just screams at the top of his lungs and freaks out the civilians around him. Then the guy starts walking, looking at the scenery around him, acting like he isn't being filmed from 1,300 feet away for his documentary that's gonna change the world. By the way, I don't know how anyone can walk normally when they tell themselves to. Once you tell yourself, do something normally, you pretty much just increase your chances of screwing it up by 90%. One time I was walking across the bottom of some bleachers and I told myself, there's a lot of people I'm in plain view of right now. Don't make a scene. Just walk normally. They aren't paying attention to you. You're just some random person. And I tripped over a trash can. Anyway, there's probably other more efficient ways to get the shots. I'm not some documentary camera director, but it's still less inspirational and more amusing when you think about taking away the music and voiceovers to imagine what it was really like to just get the base footage. Same with reality TV shows. Kate's older sister was accepted onto a singing show once. I don't want to get into possible legal trouble by saying which one because they had to sign contracts and stuff. But she said that when they were filming their parents to portray the, oh, we're so proud of her for following her dreams kind of clip, they had Kate and her brother in the background to make it look all casual. They told them to just look like you're talking to each other while we film the foreground. So we can talk about anything and no one would know. Watermelon, 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 water. I'm not big on most reality TV shows because as real as they might be, some are completely set up, some aren't. They're all dramatically enhanced to some degree. And there's a point where you start noticing, and it's hard to take anything seriously after that. What I find the most amusing are the sound effects and how crazy they are. I've been obsessed with watching Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares show, so I'm gonna use those as examples because I've watched so many.
Why are you so stubborn?
I'm not stubborn.
It's like no one's striving to be better. You tell me how you feel about the frozen food.
I hate it.
Huh? Made yesterday? It was actually made 3 weeks ago.
Was salad?
That was quick.
Not bad.
Thank you, my darling.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Jesus.
This one is
natural with white cheddar.
Oh, this is award-winning.
Yeah.
Great.
And why is the fillet butterflied like that and cut like that?
He cuts it off and then pounds it thin.
He beats the crap out of a fillet to tenderize it when it's the most stunning cut. Wow.
You're still yawning.
Doesn't look too appetizing.
It doesn't look appetizing at all, no.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Did you catch that one? Does that sound familiar? Kitchen Nightmares uses the same sound effect of some kid butchering the recorder as the pigeon documentary I talked about in my thesaurus video. Is there some, like, YouTube music library, but for documentaries we don't know about? Hey, Craig, what's the sound effect you used 43 minutes, 8 seconds into your Rubber Ducks documentary? Oh, it's maracas _05. Ah, thanks. Yeah, I tried maracas _02, but it didn't have the exact effect I was going for. In the UK, they don't use nearly the amount of dramatic sounds American shows use. Just look at this old clip from the UK version of A Kitchen Nightmares.
Does this make you feel better shouting in front of the blue team?
I'm not shouting in front of anybody.
Is that you have to show off?
I'm
How bloody
Don't
dare
be stupid.
you?
Don't be so stupid.
No over-the-top dramatic crap? It's almost pure. Here, I'll fix it American style.
You have to show up.
How bloody
Don't be so stupid.
Putting everything aside here, I freaking really love all of Gordon Ramsay's shows. I have a problem. I've watched like all of the Kitchen Nightmares. I love MasterChef. I love Hell's Kitchen. I love Hotel Hell, even though I've only seen like 1 or 2. I haven't watched Gordon Behind Bars yet, but I still love it. I've never had the answer to this before, but if someone came up and asked me, who's your favorite celebrity? I think I'd have to say Gordon Ramsay. Ironic, considering he's a chef and I don't eat the standard American diet. But he's a really great person from what I've gathered. Someone might think, oh, he's just a big jerk who yells at people. No, you've got to look deeper than that. Where is your character analysis? He's a genuinely great guy who's passionate and takes pride in what he does. He's not cocky or arrogant. He's always willing to learn more, and how this turned into me talking about how great Gordon Ramsay is. Gordon, you're welcome for sticking up for you. Even though you can obviously handle it yourself. Anyway, I've gotten off track enough in this video. If you're ever bored, I recommend just binging the whole Kitchen Nightmares YouTube channel. They've got like one of the funniest comment section communities on the entire YouTube platform. Shout out to Kitchen Nightmares and Gordon Ramsay. If you ever see this, I love all your stuff and you're considered my favorite celebrity, I guess, now. I don't know. You know, I've never given shout outs or anything like this before, and it's a bit funny the first one I'm doing out of all the people is to Kitchen Nightmares and Gordon Ramsay. How about, let's end the video with a shout out from the comment section. Yeah! Let's see, this person said to give a shout out to me. Alright, big ol' shout out to me, everyone. Okay, no more shout outs, so don't ask me. Bye. Just because I know there's gonna be some people out there who are gonna be like, Jaiden, you said you don't like reality shows because they can be staged or exaggerated, but then you say you like all these Gordon Ramsay shows. What the heck? Yeah, I normally am not a fan of reality shows, but I like these ones, okay? I can accept the fact it may or may not be dramatically enhanced and still enjoy it. So, also, by the way, since you're here, my buddy Ryder, or Foot of a Ferret, made a brief history of me, so you should check that out. He's a cool dude. Sorry if this sounds weird. My wisdom teeth are like, hey, we're gonna rip through your gums right now, and I'm in excruciating pain and can barely move my jaw. I've been putting off scheduling an appointment for the dentist to rip them out because I didn't want to be in pain recovering for a week. But here we are, man. Irony, am I right? Lesson learned. Teeth are jerks. Why can't they just cooperate with the rest of your body? Like, my arm never decides, hey, we're gonna grow another finger, because it freaking knows I don't need another one! This is a group body effort, teeth. Stop bringing down the team. Also, see you at VidCon Europe.
Hey guys, do you remember Kate from Embarrassing Moments #1? She was with me when I was making a fool of myself. Hello! Well, she works at a popular frozen yogurt place and has some pretty crazy customers with some pretty funny stories. And I wanted to share one of her stories with you all. Everyone say hi to Kate. Hi, Kate.
Okay, so it started when an old man and his elderly family and friends walked into the store. Now, a little background on yogurt handling. Every night at 8:15, one of the employees has to clean and drain one machine that holds a yogurt flavor. This means that customers can't order that flavor for the rest of the night. My coworker, we'll call him Kevin, was over draining the salted caramel flavor, which just so happens to be the most popular yogurt flavor. Since Kevin was over handling the machine, I was the one who had to take the customers' orders. Hello, what can I get you?
Give me some of those salted caramels.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but we're draining that machine tonight. Is there another flavor you'd like instead?
What? But you had to go and drain my flavor first, huh?
Oh, no, sir, that's the only machine we're draining tonight.
But yeah, you took away my flavor first.
I looked over at Kevin, who was overhearing the old man's nonsense. We made eye contact, like, what the heck? And he walked over to the old man and started explaining why he had to drain the machine, emphasizing the fact that we only have to clean out one machine a night.
But you had to go and drain my flavor first.
By this time, we figured that the old man was just crazy, and there wasn't any way we could reason with him, so we stopped trying to explain, and Kevin started suggesting other flavors he might enjoy other than salted caramel.
Is the vanilla any good? I want that.
Okay. Then after the old man's group finished their order, they all grabbed the yogurt and walked outside. Did you ring anyone up? They all left pretty quickly.
No, did you?
No. Turns out they all left the lovely old man to pick up the entire check by himself. Serves him right. After figuring out all the costs of each order, Kevin says,
Okay, so your total is going to be $27.89.
Are you lying to me, Kevin?
What?
You made it extra expensive, didn't you?
No, sir, I wouldn't do that.
Is he telling the truth? Because I got a feeling. I don't like that look.
No, sir, you can trust Kevin. He's very trustworthy. Kevin started trying to explain even more, but the old man cut him off again.
I don't trust ya.
Okay.
So now it was just me and the old man. So your total is $27.89.
Well, thank you, Gabe.
While paying, he tried to make a little bit of pleasant conversation with me, as if that whole dramatic situation didn't even occur. And then he gave me a tip.
Yeah, just make sure that dimwit co-worker don't get none of that cash, all right? Kate, you earned it. That's just for you.
Oh, thanks, sir. Have a nice day.
Okay, you too.
And then he walked away.
So basically what the moral of the story is old men can take their frozen yogurt very seriously. So be careful out there, everyone.
Hey guys, welcome back! It's really been too long, and I apologize for not uploading an animation for 2 freaking months. But I hope you guys can forgive me, and I will try to upload more during the summer. Anyway, I have a few important things to say. 1, do you notice this beautiful fan art that I put in the end card? I decided that I want to include your talent, so if you want your fan art featured at the end of an animation, I have a link for that in the description. Also, if you haven't seen my FNAF 3 animation for Cupquake, you can find that in the other animations I've made playlist on my channel. Basically, if you haven't seen me upload something in a really long time, you should check that playlist just in case I made an animation for someone else and it's on their channel. One more thing. I opened up an ask.fm, which is like a little place that you can ask me silly questions. I've only announced this through Twitter so far, and I've already answered so many questions, and it's so much fun. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for little updates and silly things I might say at JaidenAnimation, because I can't fit the freaking S of Jaiden Animations in the Twitter tag, which really bothers me, but whatever. Also, if you're into artsy stuff, you can check out my DeviantArt, where I can fit the S, so that one is Jaiden Animations. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!
Remember when Pokemon sent me every single one of their Gen 5 sitting cuties for me to rank? Turns out they really liked that video. So much, in fact, that they said, "Hey Jaiden, awesome video. Why don't you come to Japan to watch the Pokemon 2023 World Championships?" Our treat. You won't have to pay for your flights or hotel or nothing. I've been to Japan once before in my entire life, and it was back in 2018 with my family. We did a bunch of fun little Japanese tourist things. It was a phenomenal trip, but ever since then, I've always wanted to go back and do all the awesome nerdy stuff Japan has to offer that I didn't want to bother my family with. At the time, they didn't even know who Luffy was. They would have been so lost. So when Pokemon extended their hand and offered to fly not only me, but Jacob out to attend the biggest Pokemon tournament in the world, I jumped for joy. Free trip to Japan! The tournament was only going on for a single weekend, but Jacob and I planned to stay there for 3 whole weeks to do a bunch of said extra nerdy stuff. We were pumped. Eventually the time came, Jacob and I were packing up all our stuff, and decided we both would bring an extra suitcase so we could treat ourselves a bit and buy a bunch of cool stuff while we're there. Don't judge us, we're anime and Nintendo loving impulse buyers going to Japan. A game plan was needed. We were being responsible. 2 extra suitcases was definitely gonna be enough. Yep. Equipped with our extra luggage, we headed off to the airport. Pokemon straight up gave us business class seats. We didn't ask for them or anything. So when we boarded, we realized we had the seats where you could lay down. There even was some sort of seat divider that acted like a car window, so I could roll it down and bother Jacob whenever I wanted. Quick little 11-hour flight later, and we were in Japan. It was time to have the best trip of our lives. I'm not joking. I had the most incredible trip and got to do things I won't ever forget. And I won't, because I've now plastered it onto the internet forever. We landed midday Japan time, so we decided to go to the first thing we wanted to see while abroad. Japanese McDonald's. I couldn't order anything except fries, but Jacob and I both dropped our jaws when we saw something called the Double Big Mac on the menu. I thought Americans already went big with the Big Mac, but Japan did the impossible, just to send a message. What a magical place. Let's begin with the next morning. Pokemon planned a bunch of cool stuff for the creators and partners they flew out, beginning with a group field trip to the Mega Tokyo Pokemon Center. Jacob and I woke up early for it and missed the bus they had for us. And it totally wasn't completely my fault entirely, because I hypothetically didn't read the schedule correctly and was taking my sweet time getting ready. Why would you think that? So we had to take the trains on our own to get there. Anyone that remembers my first Japan trip knows the trains were me and my family's mortal enemy number one. We kept getting it wrong, and it was failure after failure the entire trip. You'd think that with all that prior experience and struggle, I would have grown as a Japanese train understander, right? Nope, we got on the wrong train. But at least we were having a good time, haha. After a lot of freaking out and mental strain and regrets, we finally arrived at our destination, and although by the time we got there they had already finished looking at the Pokemon Center, we were able to grab a quick snack with the group at the Pokemon Sweets Cafe. I meant to take a picture of the Pikachu waffle before I ate half its cranium, but I forgot, so this is what you get. Now that we were with the group, we were able to travel with them for the rest of the day, so we packed into the bus and headed off to a traditional tea ceremony where we were taught all about how the tea masters would make tea and tea etiquette and all these things about the significance of tea in Japanese culture, all while getting to taste the tea master made. Again, I meant to take this picture before I took a chunk out of the little sweet they gave us, but here we are yet again. I'm just not that great at this. They also served us a really special lunch of super fancy bento boxes, like so fancy that the host was like, dude, I've never even had these bento boxes before. I was super excited, but I don't mean to be ungrateful or wasteful, but the box was full of super fancy, complicated fish and seafood. I knew going to Japan I'd have to be flexible with food because it's really hard to be vegan or even vegetarian there, so I really tried to eat as much as possible and look thankful. But yeah, I struggled a lot. But I still had a great time and it was an honor. We were dropped off at the Yokohama Chinatown and left to explore a bit until dinner in a few hours. Everyone separated into groups, and Jacob, Stefan, the guy that sent me all the sitting cuties, you guys remember him, the guy named Steve, and I went and pursued the street food a bit before stumbling into a little arcade with a bunch of crane machines. I got this silly little bear minifigure. His name is Chico, so I decided to innocently carry him around in my pocket for the entirety of the trip. You know, because he was silly. This single action severely changed the course of my mental stability going forward. You'll see soon enough. But look at these cute photos I got with them. We had a great dinner, headed back to the hotel, got to hang out with our good old Pokemon rival Jan a bit, and called it a night. The next day we all got to do some private shopping at the Pokemon World's pop-up shop. I'll just say we bought way too much stuff that we also don't regret in the slightest. I even got this video of Jacob grabbing more and more sitting cuties as the workers kept reorganizing them to keep the display looking perfect. We walked out of there with 3 giant bags of stuff. But it's okay, because remember, we anticipated this with our extra suitcases, which I am starting to wonder if they are going to be enough, but surely we will come down. We were then all taken to the creatures' offices. You know, just the place where they make Pokemon cards. It was gorgeous in there. They had these awesome sculptures of giant Pokemon cards with crystals, and all the walls were lined with 3D card art. It felt like I was in a building with a lot of significance. Because I was. We got a tour around the building, met the TCG card testers, and were able to ask them questions about their process. Even got to have a little Q&A session with Atsushi Nagashima, the game director of the Pokemon TCG. It was funny, one of the people in our group asked how they chose which Pokemon to make cards for. A good question. And then followed it up with, I really like Mantike, but there's only 2 Mantike cards that exist. And the assistant pulled up a list of all the Pokemon Mantike cards that have ever been created, and sure enough, there were only 2. The director chuckled and was essentially like, yeah, sometimes Pokemon get lost in the cracks. We kinda just make cards of Pokemon I like. For example, my favorite Pokemon is Gengar. And you know what? that actually makes a lot of sense. Also, we were able to have a Q&A session with the Pokemon card art director and 3 artists who actually draw art for the cards. That was super interesting, and I was so incredibly inspired by that discussion. But you know those Pokemon cards with the super cute clay art? That artist's name is Yuka Mori, and she was in that panel. I was so starstruck. Those are some of my favorite Pokemon cards. And not only that, but she hosted a little workshop for us where she gave us clay and taught us how to make little clay Magnemites like in this card here. Speaking of this card, she brought the actual original Magnemite for us to see. That was by far the coolest thing that I've ever gotten to be a part of. We got to meet a piece of genuine history. I felt like I was meeting the president. Also, here's me and Jacob's Magnemites that we made. Day 3 of our little Pokemon field trip, and we were taken to another Pokemon Center. This time in Shibuya, which was also right across from a Nintendo store. It was like a bullet was shot through our credit cards. In the shopping center, I saw a little gacha machine with little miniature Chiikawa plushes. I was only interested in getting Chiikawa, but I decided to test my luck anyway. And I got him first try! Now I had 2 of them. Yes, the original was still in my pocket. You can safely assume he is in my pocket for the entirety of this video. I've got pictures to prove it. Jacob snapped this awesome picture of the Chiikawa brain rot taking over. When we were looking around in the Shonen Jump shop, a little Japanese boy pointed at Jacob and went, "Sanji-san," before his mother quickly yanked him away, and I still to this day laugh at that interaction. Poor kid saw his first blonde guy in real life and immediately thought it was Sanji. Later that day, we also got to attend the Pokemon Symphony, where a live orchestra played Pokemon songs, and it was absolutely incredible. Video game orchestras are so cool. It always tugs on my heartstrings to see video game music transformed into such a beautiful new art form. Highly recommend attending one if you have any favorite games or franchises. On to the first day of Worlds. It was exciting. People flooded into the venue. We watched the opening ceremony in the crowd. Just wow. This is the whole reason why we're here. We went back to shopping. Look at this cute little Chiikawa book I found in a nearby bookstore. At this point, we were absolutely pushing it in terms of luggage space, and we were day 4 into a 2.5-week trip. Our shopping sprees until this point were very not frugal, so we cut our losses and bought 2 extra giant suitcases to fit everything better. Okay, we knew we were gonna need extra suitcases. Getting a few extra couldn't hurt. Look, the flights were paid for. We were still saving money at this point, I think. That's my rationalization. I'm going with that. Also in the mall were tons of Pokemon monitors straight up playing the World Championships. TCG, Pokemon Go, VGC. Japan treated Worlds like it was the Super Bowl. And it was just so cool to see one of my main interests so culturally celebrated. People of all ages would stop by to watch for a bit before going back to their shopping. I can't explain it, but it just made me very happy. We even got to see Wolfie live on the monitors. How'd he do? He did great. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Look, we were just happy to see our friend on the Pokeball screen. Proud of you, Wolfie. You're so cool. The second day of Worlds was hype. So hype that we left Yokohama and flew to Osaka. I haven't mentioned it yet, but we actually got tickets to see the one and only Hatsune Miku live in concert. The real ones know how huge that is for me. I want to talk about how life-changing that was, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that experience I'll be posting next. All I'm gonna say is it was the best day of my entire life. By a lot. Subscribe now before you miss it, just saying. I will mention, we did have to take the train to get back later that night, and got super lost again. And we never get better at it. Don't expect anything to change in that regard. We did finally get back to Yokohama, crashed for the night, and had a nice, slow morning as we got ready for finals later that day. To any One Piece fans who are caught up, we were in Japan for the One Piece anime episode. You know what I'm talking about. 1072. We were able to turn on our hotel TV and watch it live. And that was so cool. I don't talk about how much I love One Piece much, mainly because it doesn't really come up. But One Piece is peak, and it was an honor to be in Japan at such an iconic part of the manga and anime's history. Anyway, back to Pokemon, sorry about that. We were able to watch the final VGC match live, got to chat and eat dinner with Wolfie and some other friends, had a late night hangout with Jan again, And that was about it. Day 7 meant it was time to pack up all our stuff from the hotel, say goodbye to Pokemon and Yokohama, and head on over to the apartment we rented for the rest of our stay just outside of Tokyo. At this point, we had filled up all 6 suitcases and multiple backpacks. I didn't mention it, but Pokemon gave us a truckload of gifts that we genuinely had no idea what to do with. We're grateful nonetheless, thank you Pokemon. But yeah, the taxi ride was a bit awkward. So are you meeting up with some friends? No. After we got situated in the new place, we decided to look around the area and grab some lunch. And I gotta say, the little hole-in-the-wall restaurant Jacob found was some of the best ramen I've ever had ever. They even made it vegetarian for me, which was extremely kind of them. Food modifying is a bit tricky in Japan compared to the States, so I was very, very thankful. And it was delicious! We then proceeded to do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day because we were exhausted from the trip so far. I haven't mentioned absolutely everything we'd been doing on the trip because it would be a lot of, first we did this and it was cool, then we did this and it was cool. Even though it was such a pleasure to be invited, I was so dead. And definitely looked super not approachable or friendly to the rest of the group by the end of it. Sorry, guys. But neither time nor Japan stops for anyone, so we had to keep on chugging along. There were a bunch of friends we wanted to see while in Japan, and one of them was Connor. He wanted to take us to what he deemed his favorite Italian place ever. I asked if it was like fancy Italian, to which I was given the answer of no. So we get there, having a great time, and suddenly we realize Junichi Masuda, the director of Game Freak, is there having dinner. Not a fancy dinner, my ass. I then look down to see the Freddy Fazbear FNAF t-shirt that I am wearing. Not the best Jaiden moment to exist, but hey, what can you do? The food was phenomenal though. I already mentioned the best ramen I've ever had while on the trip, but this was genuinely the best pasta I've ever had in my entire life. Maybe even a top 3 meals ever for me. I don't know what the other 2 would be, but that Connor place is definitely up there. The next day we went to the One Piece store in Shibuya and bought a lot of stuff because there was a lot of topical and hype things in there, as you could imagine. If you don't get it, go catch up and come back. Don't worry, it won't take too long. My favorite character is Mihawk, but out of all the stuff the store had to offer, there were only a few stickers and a single keychain for Mihawk. I'm still mauling about that one. I just want more Mihawk. Is that too much to ask for? Even this guy got better merch. The world's greatest swordsman deserves better. I guess I'll just take my Zoro and Law stuff. That's cool too, I suppose. I also found a bunch of Chikawa stuff in a Kittyland store, and this is truly when you get to see where things start going downhill for me. I just like the funny little cartoon bear thing. What? Is that such a crime? I don't remember what we did the rest of the day. I think we just crashed and passed out. This trip, as surreal as it's been so far, has been absolutely taking a toll on me, and I desperately needed to just not move or talk or exist for a bit. We were doing so many different things that were all awesome, and hanging out with so many different people that were all awesome, but man, I am not built for extended periods of that much excitement and socializing. As much as I would like to change this fact, I'm also not a very active person. I know. Up until this trip, I was practically sitting down 24/7, working all the time to prep as much work as possible so I could have a guilt-free 3 weeks off, and my muscles were definitely starting to decay at that point. I looked at my phone's step meter thing, and there was one day where I literally got 300 steps. That's pathetic. And suddenly, I'm logging over 20,000 daily. My body was screaming. What the hell are you doing out there? Please stop. Plus, we were in Japan during the hottest, most humid time of the year. Every time we left the air-conditioned luxury of a building, we would immediately be drenched in sweat. Look, I'm used to the heat. I grew up in Arizona, but even this was too much. So yeah, crash and burn it was. Tokyo Disneyland was a bit underwhelming. It felt like a slightly worse version of the one in California because of the oddly spaced layout and surprisingly empty vibe. We did go to a Stitch-themed show thing, and as we were walking in, a worker stopped us and said, "Oh, excuse me, Stitch only speaks Japanese," like warning us it's not super tourist friendly. But I just think the statement of Stitch only speaks Japanese is hilarious. We went in anyway, and yep, Stitch only spoke Japanese. Kazoku. Yeah, overall, it was not the best thing we did, but apparently, I didn't know this, Japan has 2 Disneys, Disneyland and Disney Sea. And we went to Land, which is unanimously deemed the worst of the two. So, oops, better luck next time. Jacob and I took 2 more rest days where we just turned to Ash. Then up and at 'em, back to Osaka we go. This time we went to an Eve concert. Besides Hatsune Miku, the Japanese band Eve is the only other concert I've said I wanted to go see. I love their music videos they have for all their songs. It's always such beautiful animation. And by the way, they're the ones who sang the season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen anime opening theme, if you're lost. Earlier in the trip, Jacob just so happened to look up if they were doing a concert while we were there, and lo and behold, they were. He got some totally not scalped tickets, which turned out to be a super complicated process, so thank you, Jacob. You're the bestest friend I've ever had. Thank you for going through the trenches for silly old me. Anyway, the concert was so incredible. The atmosphere was fantastic. They had awesome visual effects going on. The glow bands a lot of people bought were perfectly synced to the music and colors on the stage, which really enhanced the experience. The music was great, which, I mean, of course it was. That was the whole reason we went in the first place. I talk about it more in the upcoming Miku video, but Japanese encores are so much different from the American ones. They're so quiet and polite. There is pretty much no screaming and cheering. It was just a long applause with a semi-whisper chant of encore, encore. And they also made us wait like 5 minutes for them to come back out. My hands were getting itchy just from clapping so much. That's how long it took. And then when they finally came out, they ended up doing like 5 extra songs. I mean, I'm not complaining, but after the 4th time thinking, man, that was a great last extra song. Well, time to head home. Wait, another? It starts getting a bit comedic. This is just a side tangent, but Jacob went off to use the bathroom before the show started and came back 10 minutes later, like, dude, this is crazy, but it took me a bit longer to find a bathroom because there were so many extra women's bathrooms, which is like, whoa, that's actually so smart. There's always such a huge line for the women's bathroom compared to the men's in any scenario. I was just shocked Japan was like, okay, then we'll make more women's bathrooms to fix that problem. Like, it was so simple. I know in America it would probably turn into a stupid political thing, but it made me so happy Japan just implemented such an obvious and straightforward solution so easily for the gals. The next day, we headed over to Universal, which was hands down the best amusement park I've ever been to. So they can do amusement parks well. First of all, Universal Japan is way more anime and manga focused than the ones in the States, which made it instantly more engaging for me. Jacob and I both agreed we would window shop for the first part of the day, and then buy all the things we wanted as we were leaving so we wouldn't have to lug around a bunch of bags all day. But we immediately saw a little One Piece shop and cracked. We just wanted to wear these One Piece headbands. That's rule-breaking worthy. We also got some towels because, surprise, surprise, it was freaking hot. I know I've been complaining about the weather here and there, but my lord, it was miserably scorching. Japan has such a big culture around staying cool while outside, and I totally get it now. People would be walking around with little fans, ice packs, towels. A lot of women had parasols. I'll say, if we didn't get those towels, we probably could have passed out from heat stroke that day. Later on, I even ended up getting another towel. It was a cute Pikachu one, but I got it mainly because it was a cloak design. After soaking that thing in cold water and putting it on, my body temperature instantly lowered like 5 degrees. However, that meant I was walking around the park looking like this. Back to the awesome stuff. We did a bunch of attractions like watch a fun 4D Jujutsu Kaisen show where the seats move around, went on a super cool 3D VR Spider-Man ride. We tried to cool down by going on a Minions thing called Freeze Ray sliders that claimed to cool riders down with a blast of chilled mist from a giant freeze ray. But we got on and absolutely did not even touch a drop of the mist because it never ended up getting in range of our cart. That felt like an actual tragedy at the time. There were a few big roller coasters we wanted to go on, but I get super motion sick and forgot to bring nausea medicine, so no roller coasters for us, but I shall return one day. The park, of course, had a bunch of cool themed restaurants, one of them being a super cool One Piece restaurant. Did I mention I like One Piece? There also was a special Sanji one, but we didn't know you needed a reservation, so phooey. It was awesome though. I love One Piece. After a few hours of rides and being broiled alive, we decided to fully cool off by going on the Jurassic Park ride. That's just giant splash mountain with dinosaurs. We cooked in line for probably a solid hour, and as soon as we were literally stepping foot inside the ride, it started pouring rain. Now that's just not fair. I don't even understand how that happened, but whatever. We started buying all the stuff we window shopped for as we waited for the One Piece live show to begin. Again, please refrain from judging. I am being vulnerable and open here. By the way, as we were walking around, we stumbled onto a little Mario-themed show just out in a courtyard area. They played some fun little custom songs and had all these dancers alongside the mascots. And then out of nowhere, they started absolutely blasting the crowd with like gallons of water. I didn't even see it coming. It was like firefighters showed up to put out a giant fire, except the fire was a bunch of Japanese people. The time came and we got to file in for the special One Piece live show, and even though Jacob and I didn't understand a single part of it because it was all in Japanese, it was awesome, and the costume design was phenomenal. It was a bit unfortunate though, because the seats were all in like a half circle formation around the stage. As much as they tried to make the show enjoyable from all angles, it was pretty hard to see the main things going on in the center. My only true complaint though is that Zoro didn't come to our side at all. All the other characters rotated around so we could see them, but Zoro only did it at the very end to take a bow. Also, Mihawk being included would have been nice, but it's okay. By the time we got to enter Nintendo Land, it was like 9 p.m. We got up at 6 a.m. by the way, so we pretty much just rode the Yoshi's Island ride they don't have in the States and headed home because that's all the energy we had left. But even just seeing that, it was miles better than the one in the States. Also, we picked up a little dinner at the 7-Eleven near our hotel. 7-Eleven is actually awesome in Japan, by the way. And they had a few little Chicoa plushie keychains, and I bought them. Just being transparent here. We woke up early the next morning to catch our flight back to Tokyo and hurried over to the Kirby Cafe. Emily actually booked the reservation for us. She was meant to also be there, but she was only able to get 2 seats and gave them to us as a gift. Emily, I will always be indebted to you for your sacrifice. The cafe itself was so well decorated with all these little Kirby things, and the menu was adorable. I got the star curry and a magical little fruity drink with a Kirby marshmallow that triggered my cute aggression. Jacob got the pizza and a Kirby burger, but since he made modifications, the staff asked him to not post a picture of the burger to the public. Like, they didn't know he was a content creator or anything. I guess they just didn't want the public to see a naked Kirby burger. We also both got desserts. I already decided I was gonna consume the Kirby. The presentation was beautiful. It was literal art on a plate. Taste-wise, it was decent. The body was some sort of gelatin, which I wasn't too crazy about, but the rest was super tasty. I did my best, but he ended up looking like he was in a horrific accident when I threw in the towel. The cafe also has a special little private store connected to it. And yeah, what you expect happened definitely happened. We left with full bellies and bags, continued to look around the shopping center the cafe was connected to, and ended up walking into a gacha store. I am about to be very vulnerable with you here. This is one of the lowest points of my entire life. Please don't think too much less of me after what happened in that gacha store. So I walk in, spot Chiikawa, beeline it to the machine, obviously. Like I mentioned before, I'm only interested in Chiikawa, so I was only playing for him. But by the cursed luck of the gacha gods, I just could not get him. I was going back and forth between the machine and the coin exchange, getting multiples of every other little guy, but no Chiikawa. I could feel the workers' glances at me, probably because the desk they were standing behind was right next to the machine I was grinding. But after way too much money, he dropped. I got my well-earned, horribly priced at that point, Chiikawa. I then started looking at all the other machines, putting some coins in a few here and there, until I stopped at one that had a line of animals playing band instruments. They were very silly, but there was a little pigeon holding up cymbals, and I really wanted to get him for Jordan and Kelsey. In went the coins. Tiger, elephant, fox. It was happening again. Everything except the one I wanted. Which I know more or less that's the luck with gachas, but it was getting to the point where I was getting surprised the pigeon was dodging me as much as it was. Surely the next one. What? Eventually, I had to go back to the coin exchange, and as I was about to put in more money, I saw out of the corner of my eye one of the workers peek out and take a look in horror at all the gachapons that were sitting at the top of my bag. They then raised up their hand and said something in Japanese while shaking their head, and I knew in my heart I was being cut off. No, please. I can stop whenever. Just a few more hits and I'm done. The pigeon is next. I can feel it. Why do you look afraid? What's under the desk? I got kicked out of a gacha store. I had hit an all-time low. I told my friends and they said they probably just thought I was gonna try and resell them, but I don't even know if that would even make it sound better, knowing I was getting so many that they thought I was robbing them blind. I just wanted my little Chiikawa and pigeon with symbols. We made dinner plans that night with a friend and we were just about to grab a taxi and head back to freshen up, but Jacob and I caught sight of a fun anime and goodies shop. Who do we think we are? People with self-control? We'll make it quick! We rushed in and split up for optimization. As I was looking around, I saw it. A whole section dedicated to Chiikawa. It was like someone put a freshly baked pie on a windowsill, and I was suddenly floating over to it. My eyes were zoned in, making sure I saw every single thing possible, putting Chiikawa after Chiikawa in the basket. Jacob eventually came over and showed me a picture he took on his phone. In my tunnel vision, all my eyes registered was that the picture showed more Chiikawa in the store. I immediately went feral. Where? Jacob's eyebrows went up in surprise and maybe a bit of fear. And as I looked at the photo again, I realized Jacob wasn't showing me a picture of a different Chiikawa section. He was showing me a picture of me at the current Chiikawa section I was standing in because he thought it was funny. And in my Chiikawa brain rot, I didn't even register I was in the picture. I just saw more Chiikawa and went obsessive. This is how I am. Either stand by me or leave. No, I don't need an intervention. Put it away. We left. I looked longingly at the crane machine Chiikawas we didn't have time for, and we made it in time for dinner. Plus, we ended up in another arcade nearby anyway, and I got myself a Chiikawa from one of those machines, so it worked out. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Finally, we were reaching the end of our trip. We spent the last day grabbing lunch with Emily and Didus. There was a cool One Piece scavenger hunt event going on, so we also did that with them. We basically had to walk around Shibuya and find special One Piece trading card posters hidden around the area, and if we found enough along with the special card of the day, we could get a limited edition mystery card. It was fun, but also hot. And all my clothes were sticking to my body. Didus generously let me borrow his umbrella, and I jumped for joy as he showed me it was coincidentally Chiikawa themed. I don't know what's wrong with me. All I know is that bear makes me happy. We spent a few hours completing the scavenger hunt, got our special cards, and bid them farewell. Always good to see you guys. Bye-bye. I accidentally stole Didus' umbrella. It looked so calculated. They knew how much I was obsessed with Chiikawa. They'd been watching my Instagram stories. Follow if you want to see brain rot in real time. Emily, I have the Chiikawa umbrella. I didn't mean to steal it. I promise. It's not what it looks like. Since we were leaving in the morning and wouldn't be seeing them again, they just let me keep it. But the side-eye Jacob gave me the rest of the way back. I didn't mean to— stop it! Getting back to the apartment, reality hit us hard. We needed just a few more suitcases. Again. In total, we ended up buying 6 extra suitcases to hold everything we collectively bought. And even then, it was a struggle making it fit. Jacob ended up going professional Tetris mode, perfectly fitting everything into the suitcases with quite literally no extra room to spare. We came to Japan each with a backpack, carry-on, and 1 extra big suitcase, and we're leaving with altogether 8 suitcases and 4 backpacks. We were lucky the taxi driver had a big enough car to fit everything because we didn't have much of a game plan if it didn't. Off to the airport we went, where we checked all of our excessive bags, paid a couple fees, boarded our flight, and headed home. That trip will go down as one of the best trips I've ever gone on. It felt like it turned into a celebration of everything that makes me me. All of my hobbies and interests, Pokemon, One Piece, at the last minute Chiikawa. We got to do so many incredible things and were given so many opportunities I'd never even thought I could be a part of. I got to see so many friends that are normally so far away, ate some of the best meals of my life, and overall was just really happy, especially getting to spend it all with my best friend Jacob. By the way, if you wanted to know why in the world we got so many things, yes, a lot of it was for us. 90% of it all was for our friends. 100% of the Chicowa stuff was mine, but that's besides the point. If you want to see what we got them, also credit where credit is due, the majority of it all was from Jacob, because he's a great gift giver and even more incredible friend to the people around him. We're all nothing short of lucky to be able to call him our friend. You can go watch his Japan video. I assume it's already up, because we had to animate a frickin' 30-minute long video. My god, it was a lot. Thanks for sticking around. But yeah, I just had an unforgettable trip, and I owe the opportunity to the Pokemon Company for inviting us to Japan in the first place. I'm extremely lucky to be in the position I am, and will be forever grateful.
Hey, just wanted to mention you can buy our new Jaiden anime figure bundle on JaidenAnimations.com. Cool, thank you. Game shows. People's favorite way to fantasize about how to win a lot of money and look really cool in front of the entire country. Everyone is sat down in front of a good old Deal or No Deal and watched the middle-aged white people pick the obvious wrong cases while Howie Mandel just smiles. And if you were on that show, you could do so much better because lucky case number 24 has never let you down. Well, today I'm gonna live that fantasy and prove how easy it is to actually win money on game shows. With my friends Jordan and Kelsey, we're gonna simulate 3 of America's favorite game shows and see how much money we can collectively win. Let's see how hypothetically rich we could have gotten. The first game we tried was Family Feud. 90% of you guys know Family Feud, and I see you, but for the ones who don't, the show asks 100 random people survey questions, and you have to guess what their most common answers are to get points. I thought this was gonna be easy. Steve Harvey sets you up with a dirty question, you scream naked grandma, and then they give you money. But the moment this poser of a host walked out, I knew I was out of my element.
Ari Tofu family up against the Ari Tofus. Let's play family.
That's not Steve Harvey. The game lets you build your family, and I was just gonna make me and my 2 birds, Ari and Tofu, and randomize the last 2 members. Looking back, I probably should have just made Jordan and Kelsey because they were right there. But somehow the game randomized to Walter White, so we just kind of went with it. You can see them, like, the stretching.
Walter White!
That's Walter White! It's really him!
That's good.
Look,
That's
it's so good. The prompt we were given first was, name a president whose face appears on money, to which we buzzed in Lincoln, and the opposing family, the Hortons, answered Roosevelt. And America must have been thinking the same thing I was, which was, wait, Roosevelt is on money? Because we got the higher score and got to keep guessing more answers. We very confidently punched in Washington, which was first, and then realized we didn't have any more guesses. Obama? After 3 strikes of wrong answers, the Hortons buzzed Hamilton, which is stupid because Alexander Hamilton wasn't even a president to begin with. Everyone who experienced 2015 knows that.
Does that mean they steal all the points?
No.
If
Hamilton?
What, like the
He wasn't
Alexander?
president.
It's time for you to score some points.
If I know something, Hamilton is not a president.
Like the Graham Bell? Alexander Graham Bell? No.
They took all the points! BS! Name a president. Alexander Hamilton. Ding, 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 ding. Here's all the points. America is so dense and uneducated, they are literally pumping wrong answers into Family Feud, and I am suffering because of it. Name a fruit. Hot dog. Going into round 2, we were down just a bit at 0 points to 96, but we swept the next prompt. Something that helps a baby go to sleep. Milk. Round 3, hit the fan again. Something you might lose as you get older. We were on a roll with hair, teeth, memory, hearing, and memory. We got a strike because I said parents, and even though that's literally 100% correct, guaranteed, it wasn't on there. There was 1 answer left we needed to figure out, and we came up with vision, which we were very confident in, but received another strike. flabbergasted. How is hearing on there but not vision? We threw out a half-assed walking, got our last strike, and it was given to the Hortons. Strangely enough, they ended up passing. Guess they couldn't think of anything. But you know what the answer was revealed to be? Eyesight. America is so lucky the Hortons passed on answering, because if they answered eyesight and took all our points again after we said vision, it would have started my villain arc. With a strong point lead of 224 to 96, we are now entering a double points round. What's something people alphabetize? Names. Soup. 4 Americans thought they were being funny in the Family Feud surveys, and I am yet again suffering because of it. So the Hortons can play, but they end up passing again for some reason. That family only alphabetizes soup. We tried music, children, we ran out of ideas and just said soup again. Nothing was right. The answers ended up being address book, files, recipes, lists, and spices. Which spices I beg to differ. There's no way the typical American has curry powder and garam masala in the front. They have salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and everything gets shoved in the back until they die. So now we were on the last round, which was fast money. They give you one last prompt with one answer, and if you guess it, you get the chance to actually win money. Name something that runs on gasoline besides a car. I buzz in with a strong bus, which was incorrect. I'm not wrong though. I see you going to the comments. Google says a bus is a separate vehicle from trucks, cars, vans, lorries, etc. It is not any of them. That's what Google says. Lawnmower. Dude, whatever. All we proved was America's bogging down Family Feud with their stupid wrong answers. I don't want to win that dumb freedom money anyway. With $0 in our pocket, we moved on to The Price is Right. I've actually never watched this game show before, so I was learning as we went. 4 lucky contestants from the audience are given a random item, and the closest one to guess the actual price of it without going over, is selected to come up on stage and play more games to earn money. And I learned that even if I was one of the lucky 4 people selected, I wouldn't even get the chance to be on the actual show. The game gave me 6 chances to be the closest one to the price of the items, and I lost every single one. But hypothetically, even if I miraculously was the winner and taken on stage, I still would have won nothing. I tried twice for content and still ended up with $0. So we're entering our last game show of the day, and we've got a whopping $0 to our name after being on 2 of the most popular shows created. We really need to make this one count, because I am going to look like such an idiot if I was on 3 game shows and came back with 0 money. We walk out on stage. The spotlight finds us. Jeff Foxworthy raises the microphone to his mouth and welcomes us to Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? The show where you're given trivia children up to grade 5 are taught. Answer them all correctly and we could be leaving the show with $1 million in our pockets. But fail and you're doomed to know you're not smarter than a literal child who has to raise their hand to go to the bathroom. That's Jeff's favorite line to drop when people lose. He says it all the time. It's like his go-to roast. Every couple of questions, you have to pick a child they have provided to help you out. You're given the chance to either peek at their answer or copy their answer, but you can only do those once. They're like your child lifelines. I picked Jeremy as our first little buddy. I liked his enthusiasm, and he gave us a really good high five. The subject we chose was under 4th grade math, and the question was, how many lines of symmetry are found on the following shape? It showed us a picture of a pentagon. I accidentally thought it was a hexagon at first, which was not my finest moment. And then it glitched and never went away. We couldn't get the pentagon to disappear and literally couldn't read the multiple choice answers. Our thoughts were, since we wanted to punch in the answer of 1, yes, I know, another not the finest moment. Look, I was stressed, okay? The pentagon was freaking me out. I wanted to say 1. Surely they would have put the answers in ascending order, A being the smallest number, and D being the highest. So we locked in A, hoping it was 1. Lock in.
Oh, man.
Locking in. So, no!
Let's restart. Let's restart that there.
First of all, 7 was completely the opposite of what we were trying to say. Second of all, we wouldn't have been right in the first place. And third of all, Jeremy ended up saving our hides. So besides being able to either peek at or copy your student's answer, if you ever get something wrong but the kid gets it right, you get to be saved and are still in the game. Like the rest of the lifelines, it can only be applied once, and Jeremy was here to be our Pentagon-knowing hero. Anyway, we restarted. That attempt, we weren't counting that one because that was just a practice round, and the forever lasting Pentagon wasn't fair. It messed with our heads. But this one's for real now. Attempt 2 started and was going well. We ended up getting to the 6th question without any problems. But of course, as our luck would have it, we were given another glitched question where they gave us an image, and then we can't read the answers. This time the question was from 4th grade social studies. What is the shape of the following landmark? And then it showed us this. I didn't know what it was called, but Kelsey was sure it was the obelisk, and we could barely see that as answer C. Even though we were 99% sure we should just lock in C, I wanted to play it safe and copy our chosen student Alicia's answer. So we copied her, and Jeff Foxworthy revealed the correct answer, which was C, obelisk. Jordan, Kelsey, and I all celebrated because we were right, but in a very unfortunate turn of events, it was revealed that Alicia punched her answer in as B, pyramid. What, you little... Oh my god. Attempt 3. We really wanted to do one attempt each with the game shows because on national TV you've only got one shot to make your money. But I don't think there's ever been times on Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader where Jeff Foxworthy tapes the obelisk to your face and makes you guess on while you're locking in. This time, I'll say it now, we didn't get any questions where the pictures perpetually blocked the answers. It was all a fair fight, and whatever we win on this try is what we're going with. And it was going well. Really well, in fact. 3rd grade animal science. Which of the following animals has 8 arms? Ha! Octopus. I knew that one. 3rd grade music. A symbol that represents the duration and pitch is also known as what? Musical note. Then we got stuck on 5th grade measurements. 9 meters is how many yards? I don't know that. I am an unfortunate slave to the imperial system. So we decided to copy Juliet's answer, which was 9.8. She was right. We got to move on, even passing the $25,000 benchmark question. That means if we end up flunking out from this point on, we still get to leave with $25K. Solid, but we're going for that million. By the way, I had no idea you could win that much money on this show. They could ask you, what's this? And then you say the color wheel, and then you can walk out with $300,000. That's absolutely bonkers. Anyway, we were getting far. Really far. 50,000, 100,000, 175,000, 300,000. We were still in it. The $500,000 question arrived. 4th grade inventors. Which inventors' improvements to the steam engine were instrumental in starting the Industrial Revolution? We didn't know. None of the choices seemed right, as in, we didn't know who any of them were besides Benjamin Franklin, and I don't think he did that. After a lot of back and forth, we decided to guess on Robert Fulton, which was the wrong answer. We were out. But then we realized we still had hope. We hadn't been saved yet. If the student we chose during this round got it right, we can still keep going. Jordan, Kelsey, and I looked to our side to realize Alicia. The girl who thought this was a pyramid. We're doomed. We had no more child lifelines left. Where was Jeremy when we needed him? She reveals her answer. James Watt. She was right! We were saved! You were just saved by someone who needs to raise their hand to go to the bathroom. Jeff, we made it. We got to the $1 million question. Apparently, they tell you what the subject is gonna be, and if you don't want to take it, you can still walk away with $500,000, which is very generous. But the catch is, it's not multiple choice. You have to submit your answer yourself. Which, being real, if I was really on this show, I would just be like, alright, cool, see ya, and settle on the $500,000. Are you kidding me? That's $500,000. I've proven enough here. I'm going home now. But for the sake of the video, we went all in. The subject was earth science. And the question was, what do you call the process of heating water into steam and then cooling it to purify it? To which I was like, I don't know. But miraculously, Jordan knew it. I might know this.
Fucking,
oh my god, I don't know this.
That's distillation.
Is it? Good job, babe.
Yeah, right?
How do you spell that?
DIST.
Isn't that what you do to alcohol?
Yeah, ILL. Distill. I'm pretty sure.
It's a better word than I would have said.
I would have said, Jeff, I don't know.
Locking in.
I hope so. I hope.
I hope they're not
sounds
like,
right.
actually it's distillation.
Here's the correct word. Condensation.
Now locked in for the final time.
Oh my God, fingers
$1
crossed.
million is on the line.
Everyone
First
in
of
the
all,
audience crossed their
congratulations for
arms at the
getting
same
to the end of the
time.
line.
They're
It's not
pissed.
easy. You will lose $475,000 and walk out of here with
$25,000 is still a
$25,000.
juicy amount.
That's a good amount.
Like, I'd still be happy. Like, very happy.
Me too.
No, I'm sorry.
No?
What?
What is
What
it?
is
I can't believe what a moron I am.
You're
this
not
is
a
my
moron.
bad.
Show us the
What?
correct answer, please.
I swear to God.
We were right. We were right. We were right. No. We won that million. I don't care what the game says. We won that $1 million fair and square. It's distillation, not distilling. Shut up, Jeff Foxworthy. Go back to making barbecue sauce. So let's see what we made. Family Feud? Nothing. Price is Right? Wouldn't have even made it on stage. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Hypothetically, $1 million. I'm happy with that. Thanks for watching. I wanted to mention again, we're selling a really cool Jaiden anime bundle that includes a new figure, vinyl record with Japanese and English versions of our Rise Above song, Ari cards, stickers. Go to JaidenAnimations.com and follow our shop Twitter at JaidenShop for updates and sneak peeks on what we're working on. Alright, thanks for letting me shill. Bye bye. This is Asperia, a beautiful place known for its breathtaking scenery, gorgeous mountains, bustling villages, and secrets around every corner. In a forest somewhere, Jaiden can be found playing with Ari and Tofu, her loyal bird companions. She lays back, happily enjoying the sunlight as Ari runs around, disturbing the wildlife, and Tofu eats dirt. Jaiden is the region's very own wildlife biologist. She documents every new animal she encounters in her ecological guidebook, hoping to one day discover every mysterious creature Asperia has to offer. Ari and Tofu help in their own ways, I suppose. As she's writing down this interaction in her book, for scientific purposes of course, a flock of fruit doves flies by overhead. Jaiden immediately recognizes them from their bright white feathers and loud screeches. Very obnoxious ear-piercing screeches. Oh, how nature sure is a blessing sometimes. Just as they pass over, one of the bird calls spooks Ari, who is too distracted with bullying the rat. In a burst of panic from the sudden shrieks, Ari takes off and starts flying away in a fit of confusion. Ari, stop! Hey! Come on, dude, you're being dramatic. Jaiden calls out to her bird, but he's already too far away. Even if he could hear her, he's way too stubborn to listen anyway. Well, this is just great. After hours of searching for Ari in random bushes, trees, caves, Jaiden finally admits defeat and starts heading to the nearby town of Hollowstone for extra help in finding her bird. Luckily, she immediately spots a noble Hollowstone soldier. Perfect. I'll just go up to the guard and simply ask him if he can help me find Ari. I need your help! It's an emergency! We need to alert the town! Ari the bird is missing! He's gonna die out there if he doesn't eat his daily 5-course meal! You gotta help me, man! Please, help me find Ari! Oh my god, woman, calm down! Just as Jaiden was calmly talking to the guard about the dire situation, someone approaches. It seems like they somehow overheard the conversation she and the soldier were having. Typical eavesdroppers. The person asks Jaiden what happened, but she's too distracted by the fact the traveler has 2 funny little hamsters with them. Hamsters? Who are you? Are you looking for a duel? This is unfortunate because I'm missing my strongest battler, Ari, so you outnumber me in creatures. But luckily, bird-type attacks are super effective on hamsters, so it shouldn't be— Whoa, chill out. I'm Merlin. I heard you need help with finding your lost bird? Phew, they're just here to help. Jaiden wasn't really in the mood to wipe the floor with this kid's hamsters right now anyway. To help, Merlin asks Jaiden which forest she was in when Ari took off. Wait, the forests have names? This might be a bit trickier than everyone originally thought it would be. As the new little team starts retracing Jaiden's steps, they determine the area she was most likely in when Ari flew away was the south side of Ryham.
Probably. Luckily, the Hollowstone soldier knows a villager over there that commonly feeds the birds. If anyone were to see Ari, it would definitely be him. With a fresh lead, the Hodgepodge crew head off together on their new quest to find Ari. They can only hope he's not gotten himself into too much trouble, but knowing him, it's quite inevitable. This was the start to the quest line of Jaiden and her birds in the game, and also this video's sponsor, AFK Journey. Me and the AFK Journey team have collaborated to put together a fun little campaign that includes Jaiden, me, Ari, and Tofu. It's also the first time I've ever been featured in a video game, which is really cool, and it'll be active from September to November, so I hope you get to try it out. The new season, Waves of Intrigue, is out today. There's a link to the game in the description for you to download for free. Waves of Intrigue brings with it a wealth of new content, including a brand new map area, the bustling hub city of Rustport, new game modes and characters to recruit, fishing and sailing mechanics, and so much more. There's even new intense pirate and mafia elements that you can explore and immerse yourself with. On top of it all, they've added even more stories and trials to beat if you're up to the challenge. AFK Journey has given me a code for you all to punch in. Use code Tofu and Ari for some exclusive rewards. The link is down below, or you can use this handy dandy QR code. The game is beautiful, massive, and definitely has so much for you to uncover and discover throughout the entire world they've created. I hope you'll give it a try. Thank you again to AFK Journey for not only sponsoring this video, but also putting me into their game in such a cool way. Thanks for watching!
A month has already passed of 2018, and you know what that means. People have already started giving up on their New Year's resolutions. Google claims that only 8% of people actually keep their resolutions, which is like the ultimate, I'm not mad, just disappointed. Well, I'm happy to tell you that I haven't dropped any of my resolutions. I don't write any. My family never really did resolutions. Once my dad was like, let's all write resolutions this year. And we still didn't, and then I didn't accomplish anything. For me, when I want to change something, I start trying to integrate it into my life right away, rather than waiting until next week, or next year, or next lifetime for that fresh start. Every day is a Jaiden New Year. Woo! As someone who doesn't write them and probably isn't qualified to critique the art of New Year's resolutions, I'm gonna toss my opinion that no one asked for into the ring. I think the main contributors to those 92% failing goals are they're too unrealistic and they're too vague. Let's stop beating around the bush and talk about the most common resolution people make. Losing weight, eating healthier, you know, that rabbit hole. Lose 20 pounds by drinking this tea from a weird plant you've never heard of. Lose 10 pounds in 30 minutes or your pizza's free. Lose your money. It's all basically just, alright, give me the money! All those quick fix weight loss scams that make too good to be true claims are just people who want your money. Sure, the scale says, hey, great job, you lost 7 pounds in a week. But your body says, yeah, but that was all just water weight, and also I don't feel very good. Or, ah! If you want change, you've got to earn it through work. There isn't an easy way out. Making changes in your lifestyle need to be sustainable for life. That's why they're called lifestyle changes. Not, I'm gonna pay $200 for this diet shake, feel good for 2 weeks, lose 10 pounds, start feeling bad, and give up in a month. Changes. I'm gonna start working out more. I'm gonna start going to the gym. Let's be honest with ourselves here. That's a weak excuse for a resolution. I'll go on a run every other morning. I'll lift weights 3 to 5 days a week. Those are much easier to follow than I'll exercise more. Psh. Get out of here with that vague crap. You don't even know what you mean by that. And don't be flaky and say, oh, I missed a week. Oh, I'm hopeless. You're not gonna be perfect for a whole year. Take a breath, chill, and keep going. I'm saying that to myself just as much as I am to you. I've been trying to be more self-aware about when my brain just wants to turn one little mess up into an excuse to stop something entirely. I'm getting better at slowly ending that habit. I grew up doing a lot of sports. Soccer, martial arts, tennis, competitive Pokémon. I know my way around the gym. But I dropped it all my last year of high school to focus on YouTube and art. I didn't care about what I ate, and combined with not moving around much, I started feeling pretty crummy. So I ended up turning to what most people do when they reach a similar problem. Alright, here we go. Let's talk about home exercise videos. Why are so many of them so fake. The weird hip-hop music and the smiles that are a bit too wide. It might just be the plastic surgery, but it all makes me feel uncomfortable. I get that instructors want to make exercise seem fun and all that, but it feels super condescending to me. How the frig do they do entire workouts smiling and talking and making cheesy eating pizza jokes? Alright, now hold that squat. Ooh, feel that burn in those quads. I'm smiling and articulating everything perfectly, and I totally know you're panting like a dying animal over there. Don't think about that leftover pizza in the fridge. Looking at you, Brittany. If you're looking for good home exercise programs, I'm gonna recommend this blog I've been following for a super long time called Fitness Blender. Whoa, is that the sellout alarm? Is Jaiden finally selling out? No, turn that thing off. I've never talked to Fitness Blender. They're not paying me to say this. They don't even know I exist. It's run by this nice couple, Daniel and Kelly. They're super down to earth and have a really healthy view on fitness and wellness. You can tell they know their stuff. All their exercise videos and tips are completely free. And if you want to use one of their written programs or meal plans, they're like 15 bucks. And they don't have that dumb music in the background of their video. If you're just starting out exercise, it's gonna hurt and or suck for a bit. If it doesn't, you aren't gonna see changes. Well, okay, don't murder yourself. Be smart about it. But your body is gonna complain for a while, and that's good. There's plenty of activities you can do. Playing a sport with friends, walking your dog, a casual battle to the death, squats, and respect your starting point. When I first started trying to get back into working out, I was just... Okay. Alright, I got through it. Alright, we're done with our warm-up, grab a quick drink of water, and we'll get right into the workout. But just stick through the beginning, because that's literally the hardest part. Raise your hand if you're sore! Ha! Trick question, you can't raise your arms, they're jello. Don't forget that exercise is only a quarter of the health journey. What you eat is the biggest variable to all this life-changing athlete hippie mumbo-jumbo. Eating right is like straight up magic. You feel amazing. It's the closest thing to drugs that isn't drugs. There's a difference between being thin versus fit versus healthy. Kinda like Venn diagram style. Someone could be thin, but that doesn't mean they're at all healthy. Someone could be super swole and buff, but eat junk 24/7. And someone could be eating super healthy, but not have the body of a supermodel. There's a healthy range of everything. I used to have a really bad relationship with eating. I've talked about it before. In college, I developed an eating disorder and a fear of eating food, and I would go like an entire day eating almost nothing. No, Jaiden! You think that eating 600 calories a day is just gonna float you to all your hopes and dreams? Nope. It's just gonna give you headaches and emotional breakdowns. You can trust me. I'm from the future. Also, learn what Bitcoin is and invest everything you can into it while you still can. I wish there was more information being taught on the dangers of eating disorders, because if I knew about that whole mess 3 years ago, I would have been like, whoa, okay, never mind. Let's do a 180 here. This ship is whack. I'm getting out of here before it controls everything in my life. You can't abuse your body and expect anything good to come from it. Man, I feel great. I could totally run a marathon and write an essay right now. I'm so energized and my brain is so clear. Thanks for feeding me literally one grape. You don't go to the gas station, pour a cup of gas into your car, and then try to drive to China. Eating less than your body needs to physically survive accomplishes nothing. It might seem like it's working in the moment, but honey, you've got a big storm coming. Please try to end it as soon as you can. I'm not at all trying to shame anyone going through rough times with their self-image. I know it's a really hard thing to fight against. I was pretty far gone when I was struggling, and even though I'm in a much better place now, I do still have bad days. What helps me is trying to separate logical thoughts from the bad ones that fuel the irrational fears. They're not here to see you succeed. They're just the dumb brain versions of those TV and email scams where they're like, hey, give me your credit card info, social security number, and mother's maiden name, and I'll give you $1 million. I won't literally destroy your life. I'm just your friendly neighborhood Nigerian prince. It's all more simple than you think. Eat healthy when you can, fresh fruit, vegetables, whole foods, and it's okay to treat yourself every once in a while. Don't say, I'm never eating sugar for the rest of my life. You're setting yourself up for failure there, and end up pulling a James. Exercise as much or as little as you're ready for, and be mindful and respectful about how your body feels. Little changes go a long way. Remember, you're doing this for you. And don't play that dumb hip-hop music while you work out, or I swear to Hercules, I'm gonna run someone over with an exercise bike. Hey, it's been a while. Sorry. Anyway, I don't know if you've seen yet, but the Fine Bros made a reaction video on me. I've already seen it and had a reaction, but I don't think I'll be making a I react to people react to me thing. I know a lot of people wanted me to do that. I enjoyed the video. They said some nice things. I hope you see it. And thanks to the Fine Bros for thinking I'm someone worth reacting to. This video took a bit longer to get done. This year's actually going to be pretty busy, and we've got some special things in the works for you in the future. I'm really trying to up the quality of videos and not die in the process. I used to be super strict on uploading every 2 weeks, but it's really not sustainable for my mental health or my health in general, so the videos will just be done when they're done. If I could post more, I definitely would, but I care more about the quality of videos than a certain schedule. So yeah. Also, I hope you liked the video. Stick to your resolutions, keep working towards the person you want to become, and take care of yourself. I'm working on all of that stuff too. Okay, bye. Dungeons & Dragons is like a board game without the board, and you play using your imagination. If you think of something, it can just happen in game. D&D is very popular. Almost everyone I've ever met absolutely loves it, and I have never played it before, even though I always thought I would really like it. People would tell me stories of their games, like, so this one time me and my party were entering a cave, and there was a big ogre guarding some treasure, but I used my charisma stat to seduce him, and we ended up eloping together. Dude, if you don't think that sounds crazy fun, then I don't think we would get along, and you should probably unsubscribe. But if you do think that sounds fun, then hey. Sorry, I've never done that before. It felt weird. I decided to reach out to Charlie, aka Slimesicle, aka Charlie Slimesicle, because he's super into D&D, and we ended up forming a little group of me, Alpharad, Ronbu as the players, and Charlie as the Dungeon Master, which is like the game organizer slash manager slash god. We all created our characters, and into the world we were teleported. The clouds part over a vast, lush forest. In it, a giant ancient oak tree can be found looming over all the other trees. The inside has been hollowed out, and a sign hangs on the side reading Old Oak Inn. Inside, many creatures of various origins are relaxing, drinking, socializing, but one stands out. A cat, equipped with various instruments, sits at a table, leaning over their cup of milk and scanning the room. They spot a dragonborn drinking at the bar, alone, seemingly pondering life. From the other end of the bar, a man in a suit approaches the dragon and starts a casual conversation. Do you know Mark? No, I don't. Who are you? I'm Paul. I'm an assistant manager at Ye Old Mart of Wall. 43 years old. My wife passed away during childbirth. My parents died. And my only child, Paul Jr., ran away at age 6. I'm living a deadbeat life, not even able to go up in the corporate ladder because my manager, Mark, prevents me from doing so. So here I am, drinking away my woes. I'm Zoot. Hi, excuse me. Are you two new around here? Born and raised. I wish I was. Okay, so I've been stuck in a time loop for what I believe to be the past 3 years. I've relived the same day over and over. I suspect my neighbor Thomas somehow trapped me here, but I don't know how to escape. I can prove it. Look, over there. In about 5 seconds, there's a 70% chance a waiter is gonna trip and drop their glasses onto the ground. Well, alright, it's a bit impressive, but, like, it's gonna take a bit more convincing because that wasn't all that. Suddenly, a sheep crashes through the tavern windows and starts rampaging around the inn. It's going straight up crazy, knocking over tables, knocking over people. Paul mentions it's got something in its mouth, and the sheep immediately stops and runs straight up to him. As Paul takes what seems to be a scroll out of the sheep's mouth, Zoot whips out their mace in an attempt to pepper spray the sheep, but slips on a puddle of rum and accidentally sprays Paul, who just is disappointed at this point. The three open the scroll, and Zoot, recognizing it's a speak with animals spell, translates it, casting a huge shockwave and blasting everything in its radius. Hello? Can you understand me now? Why the f did you try to spray me with mace? Zoot and the sheep start bickering as Paul and Tholomew just stare at them. Just forget it. I'm no ordinary sheep. I used to be human and was cursed into a sheep's body. My name is Luop, and I need your help becoming human again. Please. Alright, Lop. Well, it's Luop. Come on, guys, let's go. And for some reason, they all went along with it, still not understanding what the hell is going on. Maybe, they both thought, they could find their arch enemies, Mark and Thompson, along the way. The group is walking through the woods. Tholomew is very on edge, feeling like something isn't quite right. The tree line is shifting in unnatural ways. Oak trees are turning into birch. The bushes are rustling. Zoot spots various random animals along the path and picks up a turtle, which they add to their inventory. Paul tries to pocket a turtle of his own, but it turns out to be a rock, and is then mauled by a cougar. He ends up unharmed, though his adventure suit he changed into is now ruined. Zoot feels bad about Paul not getting a turtle, so they offer to let Paul name theirs, to which he chooses Paul Jr. They eventually reach a clearing with a large stone outcrop covered in engraved shifting runes. Carved into a stone is a large bronze door with a face on it. Hello! You should try to impress it. Oh, okay.
Answer me these riddles 3, and then you can come in. I'm a riddle door. The alphabet goes from A to Z, but I go from Z to A. What am I?
The alphabet backwards.
Wrong! The answer was zebra. Who is next? I move without wings, between silken strings. I lead, as you may find, my substance behind.
I'm gonna say a spider, because I got the butt strings.
Correct! You may pass.
Wait, but can you turn our friend back?
Oh yeah, double or nothing. Answer this next riddle, and your friend will be turned back. I creep and crawl with no eyes, legs, or ears, but I can move the earth with my peers. What am I?
Can you use it in a sentence?
The answer to the question?
Yeah, like spelling bee style.
Nice try, but you're not gonna worm your way out of this.
I think I picked up on it. I don't know if you noticed, but he said worm on accident. I'm very detail-oriented.
Don't listen to him, he's a zebra.
Paul Jr., what do you think the answer is? Turtle! Turtle, final answer! It's a worm!
Correct.
The adventurers walk through the door's mouth, which closes behind them. As they're walking into an open room, they're greeted by a closed silver door. Zoot immediately pitches the turtle at the door, but nothing happens. There's 3 dishes of clay placed in front of 3 pedestals, and the door face emerges once again, this time on the ceiling.
In order to continue, create whatever you want.
Not wanting to deal with more riddles, Zoot throws a dagger into the door's eye.
Ah, dude! Fine, I'm not helping you with this one.
The group, now lost with no direction, decides for some reason to all start eating the clay, even feeding some to Paul Jr. and Lwop against their wills. After all the clay has been consumed, the pillars glow red and more clay drops down from the ceiling, resetting the puzzle. Huh. Out of ideas, they decide to do what the door face suggested. Tholomew sculpts a crown, Zoot rolls out a worm, and Paul builds a penguin. They all place their creations on pedestals, which sink in and beam green before the lights turn out and everything goes dark. They flash back on and suddenly all their creations have come to life in weird clay flesh bodies. Paul cleaves at his penguin with a great axe, nearly cutting it clean in half, revealing that the inside is just more clay. The worm monster looks at Zoot and says, "It's wormin' time!" Causing Zoot to scream and sending a shockwave towards it, immediately exploding the worm and splattering clay everywhere, living as a normal-sized worm now. The worm lunges and wraps itself around Zoot's throat, trying to choke them out. Tholomew rips the arms off the crown monster and dodges its follow-up attack. The penguin reforms itself, sprints full speed at Paul, but slips and splats into a pile of clay on the ground, to which Paul finishes off with his axe. Meanwhile, Tholomew attempts to rip the legs off the crown, only for the crown legs to turn into arms, grabbing Tholomew and climbing onto their head, causing them to lose their mind, viewing the other party members as enemies. Paul shifts his attention to Tholomew, throwing his great axe horizontally at the crown. Unfortunately, it goes a bit low and the handle smacks Tholomew directly in the face. Zoot gets a grip on the worm, ripping it off their throat, and breathes acid onto it until it's reduced to ash. Tholomew blows on their bagpipes to attack Paul, sending out a thunderous shockwave that shakes the cavern. Paul is able to hold his ground, runs up to the two, and successfully cleaves the crown off Tholomew's head. All the clay monsters have been defeated. The silver door opens, and everyone cheers together in celebration. The adventurers enter the new room to be greeted by wooden structures, spiral staircases, platforms, and a golden door at the very back wall. It looks like a camp is set up inside the area, and voices can be heard above on one of the platforms. Tholomew scans the area looking for traces of their neighbor, Thompson. Not only do they discover a pack of goblins that have inhabited the area, but he also recognizes a familiar boot print in the clay. It's the same type Thompson wears. He's been here. Paul climbs up to the goblin platform and sparks conversation. The goblins are confused and a bit wary of the intruders, but introduce themselves nonetheless.
I'm Gob, that's Glob, that's Gobble, that's Gobble Gob, and that's the Peeler.
And who's that?
That's Bloyle.
So your names are Gob, Glob, Gobble, Gobble Gob, Peeler, and Boyle?
The Peeler.
Got it. So your name is the Peeler. You don't know anything about Mark or Thompson.
I only know about one thing. And that's peeling! Yeah!
Great, there you go.
Oh, jeez. Okay, all right, we're leaving! Paul starts booking it to the door they came in through, the Peeler right on his tail, stabbing at his ankles. No one else is doing or saying anything, they're just watching. Paul makes it back to the previous room, and the Peeler slinks into the shadows. With Paul in the other room and Tholomew and Zoot unable to speak Goblin, Tholomew is left trying to communicate through improvised sign language, pointing at the door and blowing kisses at the goblins to signal peace. Zoot tries to slip around the goblins in the meantime, as communication is clearly not working and the goblins are only getting more aggressive, but they bump into an invisible force they can't see, alerting the goblins, who are now initiating combat. Zoot decides to keep running to the door as Tholomew bangs on their drums, sending sound shockwaves at the attacking goblins. Gob, Glob, and Gobble are all sent flying off the edge of the platform, falling to their deaths. Gobblegob, in a fit of rage after losing his friends, lunges at Tholomew but misses completely, sending himself off the edge of the platform too. The Peeler emerges from the shadows to lunge at Tholomew, who is taking up Loyal, but Paul jumps in just in time, clashing blades with him. As everyone is distracted, Zoot gets to the door, peeking in to see an entirely golden room with a small golden rod shaped like a tree branch floating at the center. The branch shifts between valuable materials, at one moment being made of gold, then emerald, and ruby. Gobblegob, the goblin that accidentally dove off the side of the platform, sprints back up the stairs and attempts to tackle Tholomew off the platform, but accidentally leaps over him and plummets once again over the edge, this time to his demise. Paul and Tholomew perform a clumsy team attack together and finish off the Peeler, ending the battle, but because of the uncoordinated attack, Paul's axe is now peeled. They all hurry over to Zoot and enter the golden room together, trying to figure out how to get the artifact down. Zoot suggests they all toss Slop into the air to get it down, so Paul Solongi Bowser's the sheep into the air, but in the complete opposite direction. Tholomew quickly runs over and breaks his fall, and before Lop can say anything, they throw him again, this time hitting their target as they both fall to the ground. No one stops Lop's fall this time as he lays motionless on the floor. As Tholomew is healing up Lop, Zoot approaches the wand, only for it to be snatched by an invisible force. An unseen figure then reveals itself. Well, hey there, neighbor. Oh, and Paul. It's me, your good friend, Mark Thompson. Tholomew, you ruined my life, spreading false rumors about me. You said I cursed you, and now no one wants to talk to me. My wife and kids left me, everyone avoids me, so I spent years becoming a dark wizard, and I'm gonna have my revenge. What about me? And you, Paul? Anyway, yeah! You all are gonna be spending the rest of your lives here in this shifted sanctum. I'll be going now.
Bartholomew quickly casts locate object on the wand Mark is now holding and throws ink in the general direction, hoping to reveal where Mark is. But unfortunately, it doesn't land. Zoot sprints in the direction Bartholomew indicated and attempts to tackle the air. They make contact, but bounce off of Mark's rock-solid beer gut, breaking the invisibility spell. Bartholomew whips out their drums, slamming it with the intent to cast a thunderwave on Mark, sending him flying from the impact. Zoot follows behind and shouts, "Depression!" casting a command spell on him. He stops in his tracks, facing Zoot, and says, "I'm so sad." Having never dealt with depression before, he pulls out a picture of his ex-wife and kids and just stares at it longingly. Paul and Bartholomew see their chance to attack him and once again try to use an ultimate team attack. They grip Paul's peeled axe together and throw it in tandem at Mark. But once again, they mess up and Bartholomew is accidentally sent flying with the axe as it pierces Mark's chest. Mark is unfazed, still wallowing in his depression, but Zoot sees this as an opportunity, casting Disguise Self and visually turning themselves into Mark's ex-wife. "Ella, is that you?" "It is! Mark." Mark drops the photo and wand, sobbing, and slowly walks towards Zoot, who has their arms out, ready for his embrace. He grabs Zoot and pulls them close, tears streaming down his face. "It's been so hard. It's okay. I'm here now." Zoot pulls back, just a bit, just to look into Mark's eyes, which are sparkling with tears, and proceeds to acid blast him point blank from the mouth. Mark is heavily damaged but alive, snapping back to reality and throwing Paul's axe to the ground. "If I can't have the wand, no one can!" Paul picks up one part of his peeled axe. Looks like the manager position just opened up. He throws the axe and hits Mark, but doesn't kill him. He then picks up the other peeled axe part to throw as well, but it boomerangs around and hits him in the back of the head. Bartholomew grabs the wand from the ground and points it at Mark. "This is for everything. The low tax return, the restraining order, for moving in next to me. You're my personal hell!" Mark turns to Paul while being zapped by the wand. "Would you still let me be your manager, even if I was a..." "You're fired." "You guys did it! Please, use the wand to turn me back into a human. Please!" Bartholomew casts the wand's powers onto Lop, finally turning him back into his original form. Paul and now human Lop lock eyes. "Hi, Dad." "Paul Jr. Is that you?" Oh! Paul and his long-lost son, Paul Jr., embrace. The wand, now all out of magic, crumbles into dust, and the party exits the cave. The bomb is detonated, and the explosions erupt behind them as the group walks off together. Thanks for watching. This was a different type of video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Especially big thanks to Charlie, Ronbu, and Jacob for the great D&D session. It was super fun, and I really want to play more. I'd like to upload highlights of the actual D&D session to my second channel eventually, but it's not ready yet because I'm bad at planning. So maybe that'll happen one day. Anyway, this was a big project. Thank you to the team as always, and to Sir Meow for the sound effects. Links to everyone are in the description. Okay, I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Jaiden! You already talked about dumb things you're nervous about. Why are
Oh, you think I'm done? I'm just getting started. Yeah, no, I'm not done. There's more, sadly. If you're semi-new here or just haven't watched the first video I made about things I'm freaked out about, you don't need to watch them in order. Don't worry about it. It's not like you have to study up to watch these things. I'm not gonna pop out halfway through like, pop quiz in the first Irrational Fears video, which video game from my childhood did I finally beat after like 15 years? Answer incorrectly and you have to restart your computer. That's the punishment for not being up to date on every single one of my videos. But it would be cool if you went and watch it afterwards or something. Whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. It's fine, I don't really care. This is how you play hard to get, right? Let's just jump right into it. Things that freak me out / generally make me a bit nervous, part 2. Interacting with people. I feel like a lot of you can probably relate. I actually got curious to know the ratio of introverted to extroverted people, and apparently around 50 to 74% of the population is extroverted. Now that's a big estimation gap, but I thought that was kind of interesting because the majority of the comment sections on my videos are full of introverts. Looking at the bigger picture here, it kind of makes sense though, because all the extroverts are probably just out being with people in the real world. Like extroverts. Well, anyway, as a fellow introvert, I avoid interacting with people as much as I possibly can. If there's an option for me to just not talk to people, I'm down. I'm talking about strangers and people I don't really know, by the way. Don't get this picture in your head that I just want to live on the floor of my room by myself in the dark with no friends. You probably weren't thinking that. But just making sure. I think it's common to not want to interact with every single person you possibly can when you go out somewhere, but I think I go an extra step in some situations. Like if you're at the grocery store and you can't find something, an average person would walk up to one of the workers there and ask, "Hey, do you know where I can find the cornmeal?" And the worker would say, "Oh, it's in aisle 3 with the baking ingredients." And the person would be like, "Thanks, not only did I get an immediate answer to my question, but I also know the general direction I need to head to because you physically pointed to where I can find the thing I'm trying to locate." While over in my corner, I can't just walk up to an employee and ask them about something they're paid to know the answer to. Psh, I'm not some social interaction wizard. No, I have to walk to some obscure area no one else is in, pull out my phone, and Google where to find cornmeal in a grocery store. I choose to take an extra 5 whole minutes of my time to do an internet search, then initiate a normal human-to-human interaction. And Google can't point out which direction I have to go. I've got to walk down the whole store scanning the little signs at the top as an extra bonus to find the cornmeal for a video to make bird treats that I'm never gonna use again, and Ari doesn't even end up eating. One time I was in Target and I called my mom to ask her where the deodorant would be because I couldn't find it, and she said, "How should I know? Ask someone there. Why are you calling me? I'm at work." And so I left without buying anything. Which is also a tangent little fear, going into a store, looking around, and leaving without making a purchase. I feel so shady, like the workers probably think I just committed a steal. Then you try to like balance it out or something by looking extra friendly and smiling at the people. "Howdy ho there, I didn't steal. No need to worry about me. I'm a law-abiding citizen who pays for things." But then it's the whole thing like, well, hypothetically, if I were to actually want to steal something, I would try to not look shady by smiling at people like, "Yep, totally didn't just rob you." So they probably think I am stealing by smiling at them, and I'm confirming their mind even more. People who work at stores. If you see someone walk in and leave without getting anything, do you assume they stole something? I haven't had a job like that before, so I don't know the thought process you guys have. I just want to know if this can be something I don't need to worry about anymore, and I'm just overthinking everything like I normally do. Please help. Since we're on the topic of socializing with other people, if I do find myself in a conversation with someone, I worry a lot about not looking like I'm paying attention to them while they're talking. I hate it when I'm trying to tell someone something and they're just looking around, they check Twitter a few times, totally not looking like they want to be there. Like, dude, you're gonna miss out on this stellar conversation I'm having with you here that could totally maybe change your life. I'm just kidding. I don't have anything to say that could change anyone's life. But they don't know that, so they're risking that possibility. Also, another side tangent, the word stellar. It's a good word. Why don't people use it more? I vote everyone says stellar more often. Stellar is stellar. That was a public announcement. So that's 2 things on your to-do list now. Go watch my Irrational Fears Part 1 video and say stellar more. I mean, if you want to watch the video, it's nothing really. You don't have to if you don't want to. I just thought I'd mention it again just in case you forgot. Whoa, hey, let's get back on track. Worrying about not looking like I'm paying attention to someone when they're talking to me. So what I do to overcorrect that problem is focus way too much on making it look like I'm listening to someone. I concentrate so hard on looking like I'm paying attention to a conversation that sometimes I actually do forget to pay attention. I do a 180 and focus more on getting it across that I'm genuinely listening than just actually paying attention. And I don't realize I'm not really hearing what they're saying until the middle of their conversation, and it's like, crap, wait, I don't know what they're talking about. I need to start paying attention. And then I focus on trying to make it look like I've totally been comprehending what they've been saying this whole time, and you get the point. A good example of how this can be a bit of a problem is about a month ago, I went to the bank to order some euros because, as you know, I was going to VidCon and stuff. There's a video on that too if you maybe want to go watch that as well. I mean, it's whatever. Like, when the bank lady was telling me about the ordering process, I was really focused on getting it across to her that I knew exactly what she was talking about, and everything was peachy, and there were no no problems at all. And when she got to the point where she said, so they'll arrive on Wednesday, is that okay? She basically told me when I can pick them up. And without thinking about what day it was or what she actually just said, I went, yep, that's fine. Finished the order and left. It wasn't until a couple hours later I was at my desk doing some work and it dawned on me, wait, I'm leaving on Tuesday of next week. Did she say this Wednesday or the Wednesday after I leave the country? I'll take my chances. It was the Wednesday before I left. It was fine. But in hindsight, that could have been really bad. And I was too nervous about going back and asking the lady about the order information because that would be extra interaction with another human, and I just told you about how that makes me anxious. I'm gonna screw myself over someday by being like this. I know it. I'll make a video about it, don't worry. Last one for now. So far I'd say I've talked about pretty general things that other shy, anxious people might relate to. But this one's out there. The live-action version of the movie Pinocchio. There might be a few of you out there like, oh yeah, when I saw that movie as a kiddo, I thought it was a bit freaky too. No, that's not why it freaks me out. I saw it for the first time as a kid, and I don't recall a single thing about what it's really like or what happened in it, but I just know that night, I had one of the scariest nightmares of my childhood life. Like the type of nightmare you never forget, and you just wake up in a pool of your own sweat, like, geez, how did my brain even conjure up something that horribly freaky? The heck? Where did that come from? And at first, I didn't think anything of it. Just a nightmare. They happen. Nothing out of the ordinary. But like a year or something later, I watched the live-action Pinocchio movie a second time, and I got the exact same nightmare. Yep, these two occurrences are connected. I'm never watching Pinocchio ever again. And I didn't. That's the only movie I refuse to watch as of this point right now. Maybe sometime in the future I'll be brave enough to try and give it another chance, but no, man. I'm good for now. I bet you're curious, so I'll try to explain the scary dream the Pinocchio movie gave me. It's gonna sound dumb, but that's just how dreams are when you try to explain them, okay? Just go with it. I was in a dark room, and I was pinned against this invisible corner, so like, imagine you're in a room and have your back against a corner and you can't see anything, it's all pitch black. And by the way, I was Dash from The Incredibles. That's just... I don't get it either. That's just how it was. Not even Violet, but whatever. So I was Dash from The Incredibles, pinned against this invisible corner looking into blackness, and every once in a while, a big shark would lunge out of the dark and try to bite me. Just a huge shark jump scare at random intervals. Sounds dumb when I say it out loud. I'm not even scared of sharks. But it got really close at some points. It's dumb. Whatever. Anyway, quick off-topic thing. I'm gonna be going to Phoenix Comic-Con next week with James and some of my friends. There's not a panel or anything. I'm just gonna go for fun and to be with buddies. So if you see us walking around, then yeah, say hi if you want. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, bye.